Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Naruto became the chosen Red Ranger, the dragon who calm. Man's all-power coins Naruto x Kimberly Hart Power Rangers. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1. The Crimson Spiral. The air split open like fabric torn by invisible hands. Reality itself seemed to protest as space warped into a spiraling vortex of crimson and gold. Within this cosmic disturbance, a single figure tumbled through, body limp as consciousness ebbed and flowed. Naruto Uzumaki fell from the sky. Wind whipped through his blonde hair as gravity reclaimed him. His mind, fragmented between dimensions, struggled to process what his senses reported. Gone was the familiar chakra-laden atmosphere of the elemental nations. Gone were the forests of Konoha. Instead, strange energies pulsed through this foreign world, their signature unlike anything he had encountered. His eyes snapped open. Training took over as he oriented himself mid-fall, chakra instantly flowing to his limbs. The ground, covered in something hard and gray, rushed toward him at terminal velocity. Naruto twisted, forming a Rasengan in his right palm not to attack but to create opposing force. The spiraling sphere of chakra acted as a counterbalance, slowing his descent enough that when he struck the strange surface, his legs absorbed the impact with minimal damage. Chakra IPP led outward from the point of contact, cracking the strange stone beneath his feet. The surge of energy sent nearby objects, metal contraptions on wheels, skittering away with blaring noises. Naruto straightened, senses expanding outward to assess immediate threats. His surroundings assaulted him with unfamiliar stimuli, towering structures of glass and steel, paths made of hardened material, and strange mechanical objects moving at high speeds. The air tasted different, laden with chemicals and devoid of natural chakra. Civilians in unusual clothing stared with expressions ranging from shock to terror. What the hell kind of jutsu was that? Naruto muttered, rolling his shoulders to work out the tension of interdimensional travel. A woman screamed, pointing not at him but beyond. Naruto turned just as his instincts flared a warning. Something massive crashed into the street 200 meters away, a creature unlike anything from his world. Standing easily 15 feet tall, its body appeared constructed from equal parts organic matter and metal. Purple-tinged armor covered its torso while exposed circuitry glowed an unnatural blue. Its head, disproportionately small, swiveled with mechanical precision. Pathetic humans. The creature bellowed, voice distorted like metal scraping against stone. Lord Zed demands your fear. Run while you can. Your rangers cannot save you now. The civilians needed no further encouragement. Mass panic erupted as people fled in all directions, some diving into buildings while others scrambled into their mechanical contraptions. Naruto analyzed the situation with practiced efficiency. Unknown hostile, civilian endangerment, unfamiliar terrain, no allied forces visible. The calculation took less than a second. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 10 perfect copies of Naruto materialized in puffs of smoke, each wearing the same black and orange outfit, each bearing identical whisker marks on their cheeks. The monster paused, optical sensors recalibrating. What's this? A new Power Ranger trick? Naruto didn't waste breath responding. 6 clones dispersed among the fleeing civilians, providing cover and direction. The remaining foe flanked the monster from different angles, each drawing kunai with explosive tags attached. Coordinate and contain. The original Naruto commanded. Priority is civilian evacuation. His clones moved with perfect synchronization. Products of a mind honed through countless battles. The 4 attacking clones launched their kunai simultaneously, the blades embedding in the pavement surrounding the creature. The tags detonated with concussive force, creating a momentary prison of smoke and debris. Naruto used the distraction to leap onto a nearby structure, gaining higher ground to assess the battlefield. The civilians were clearing rapidly thanks to his clones' organized efforts. 2 children remained trapped beneath an overturned vehicle, with one clone working to free them while another provided cover. The smoke dissipated, revealing the monster relatively unharmed but disoriented. It lashed out, destroying one clone with a sweeping strike before focusing its attention on the original Naruto. You're different, it growled, optical sensors narrowing. Not a ranger, but something else. No matter, you'll fall all the same. Energy gathered in its chest cavity, coalescing into a pulsing orb of destructive power. Naruto recognized an energy attack forming and calculated trajectories. The blast would destroy not only his position but likely collapse the buildings behind him, potentially harming any remaining civilians inside. Decision made, Naruto leapt directly toward the monster as it fired. His hands flashed through signs with practiced precision. Wind style. Vacuum sphere. Compressed air bullets collided with the energy beam mid-flight, creating a spectacular explosion that illuminated the street. Naruto used the shockwave to propel himself higher, summoning a Rasengan as he descended toward the creature's head. What manner of power is this? The monster roared, raising armored forearms to block. The Rasengan connected with devastating force. Naruto felt the creature's armor buckle under the concentrated chakra. Systems within the monster's body sparked and failed, but it remained standing, grabbing Naruto's leg and hurling him toward a building. Naruto twisted midair, feet connecting with the vertical surface. He channeled chakra to adhere to the wall, crouching like a predator assessing its prey. The monster was damaged but adapting, its systems recalibrating to counter his attacks. You fight well for a human, it conceded, but Lord Zed created me to battle rangers. Your tricks won't. A blur of pink movement interrupted its monologue as a figure delivered a perfectly executed flying kick to the monster's damaged chest plate. The newcomer, a young woman in civilian clothes with chestnut hair, landed with practiced grace, immediately following with a series of strikes targeting the creature's vulnerable joints. Naruto observed with professional appreciation. Her form was excellent. Not shinobi training, but discipline. Martial arts with what appeared to be gymnastics elements incorporated. Despite lacking his chakra-enhanced strength, her strikes connected with precision that suggested intimate knowledge of the creature's weaknesses. The monster staggered back. The Pink Ranger. But you're unmorphed. Easy prey. Pink Ranger. The terminology meant nothing to Naruto, but the woman's confident stance told him she was a trained fighter. 4 more individuals arrived, surrounding the creature with coordinated precision that spoke of a team accustomed to fighting together. Looks like we've got unexpected help, observed a young man in red. Glancing briefly toward Naruto, we don't know if he's friendly, countered another in black, maintaining focus on the monster. Discuss it later, the woman in pink commanded. We need to morph now. Naruto watched as each person produced a small device. Curious energy readings emanated from them, not chakra, but something resonant with it, like distant cousins in the energy spectrum. It's morphin' time, they called in unison. Light enveloped them, transforming their civilian clothes into armored suits of different colors, each with a distinctive helmet. The transformation radiated power that Naruto could feel against his skin, wild and primal yet precisely controlled. The battle resumed with increased intensity. The Rangers moved with enhanced abilities. Their strength and speed multiplied. Still, the monster adapted quickly, anticipating their attack patterns. This is one of Zed's smarter creations, the Blue Ranger observed, narrowly avoiding an energy blast. It's learning our moves. Naruto's analytical mind processed their fighting style. Excellent teamwork, specialized weapons, energy-based attacks. However, they lacked versatility, their patterns becoming predictable to an adaptive opponent. When the monster launched the Pink Ranger through a storefront window, Naruto decided intervention was necessary. He leapt from his position, hands forming the Rasengan once more, but this time he channeled wind chakra into the spiraling sphere, transforming it into something deadlier. Wind style. Rasenshuriken. The Rangers paused their assault, watching in astonishment as Naruto hurled the screaming disc of chakra. It connected with the monster's shoulder, expanding into a microscopic maelstrom that severed connections between organic and mechanical components. The creature howled in pain, its left arm hanging useless. Impossible. What manner of ranger are you? I'm no ranger, Naruto replied, landing beside the Red Ranger. Just someone who doesn't like seeing innocence threatened. The Pink Ranger emerged from the shattered storefront, glass fragments falling from her suit. She moved to stand beside her teammates. Helmet tilted as she assessed Naruto. Whoever you are, she said, voice distorted slightly by her helmet, you've got impressive moves. But this is our fight. Kimberly's right, the Red Ranger added. We appreciate the assist, but The monster interrupted by firing a barrage of energy projectiles. Naruto reacted instinctively, hands flashing through signs. Earth style. Mud wall. The ground before them erupted upward, forming a protective barrier that absorbed the attack. The Rangers stared at the wall, then at Naruto, their helmets hiding expressions but their body language conveying clear surprise. "That's definitely not Ranger tech," the Yellow Ranger observed. "Look," Naruto said, "I don't know what Rangers are, or where exactly I am. But that thing is threatening civilians, and where I come from. We don't stand around debating jurisdiction while people are in danger." The Red Ranger nodded after a moment. "Fair enough. I'm Jason. That's Billy in blue, Zack in black, Trini in yellow. And Kimberly in pink. We protect Angel Grove from Lord Zed's monsters." Naruto Uzumaki, Konoha Shinobi. He offered no further explanation as the monster began breaking through his mud wall. "Let's finish this first, talk after." "Agreed," Jason said. "Rangers, let's coordinate with our new ally." The mud wall collapsed as the monster charged forward, systems recalibrated and armor reconfigured. "Lord Zed will reward me greatly for destroying both Rangers and this new warrior." What followed was a dance of combat styles merging. Naruto created shadow clones to multiply their numerical advantage, while the Rangers used their specialized weapons with practiced efficiency. The Pink Ranger, Kimberly, demonstrated exceptional accuracy with her bow, covering Naruto as he maneuvered for close-range attacks. The battle flowed across the damaged street, Naruto adapting to the Rangers' patterns while they adjusted to incorporate his abilities. When Billy stumbled, Naruto was there to deflect an attack. When Zack created an opening, Naruto exploited it with devastating efficiency. It was Kimberly who noticed the pattern first. Its core is pulsing differently when Blondie uses his energy attacks. They affect it more than our weapons. "Naruto," Jason called, deflecting a strike with his sword. "Can you hit its chest with maximum power? We'll create an opening." Naruto nodded, already gathering chakra. The Rangers executed a perfect distraction maneuver, drawing the monster's attention in 5 different directions. Naruto summoned a clone, beginning the complex process of forming his most powerful technique. The chakra between his hands condensed, spinning in multiple directions simultaneously as he added wind nature to the mix. The resulting Rasenshuriken hummed with barely contained destructive potential. "Now," Jason commanded. The Rangers disengaged simultaneously, leaving the monster momentarily confused. In that split second, Naruto launched forward. Rasenshuriken extended. "This ends now," he declared, driving the technique directly into the creature's core. The monster had one moment to register shock before the technique expanded, consuming its body in a sphere of wind chakra that disintegrated its components at the cellular level. The resulting explosion forced the Rangers to shield themselves as fragments scattered across the battlefield. Silence fell as dust settled. Where the monster had stood, only a small crater remained, wisps of smoke rising from superheated material. Naruto stood at the edge, chakra netwo. RK humming from exertion but otherwise unharmed. "That was," Zack began, helmet retracting to reveal an impressed expression, "completely awesome. Your energy manipulation capabilities exceed anything in our database," Billy added, his helmet also retracting. The dimensional properties of that final attack appeared to disintegrate matter at the subatomic level. Naruto raised an eyebrow. "It's called the Rasenshuriken, and it's just wind chakra applied with precision." "Chakra?" Trini questioned, her helmet disappearing to reveal curious eyes. "You mean like the Eastern concept of life energy centers?" Before Naruto could respond, the Pink Ranger stepped forward, helmet retracting to reveal a beautiful young woman with intense brown eyes that studied him with cautious appraisal. "Whoever you are," Kimberly said, "you just destroyed one of Zed's monsters more efficiently than we usually manage. That makes you either a valuable ally or a potential threat. Which is it?" Naruto met her gaze directly. "I'm just a shinobi who found himself in the wrong place. Or maybe the right place, considering what was happening. I have no quarrel with you or your team." "Shinobi?" she questioned. "Like a ninja." "Exactly like a ninja," Naruto confirmed. "Though I suspect not the kind you're familiar with." Jason stepped forward, armor disappearing to reveal civilian clothes. "We should take him to the command center. Zordon will want to meet someone with these abilities." "Hold on," Kimberly protested. We don't know anything about him. He appears out of nowhere with powers we've never seen. And we're just going to bring him to our headquarters. He saved civilians before we arrived, Zack pointed out. My visor recorded everything. He prioritized evacuation and protection. And his energy signature is unlike anything in my scanners, Billy added. It's not from any known dimension we've encountered. Naruto observed their debate with practiced patience. Their CA, Yushin was reasonable. He would have the same reservations in their position. However, the mention of dimensions caught his attention. Perhaps these people might understand what had happened to him. Look, he finally interrupted. I don't know how I got here or even where. Here is. Last thing I remember, I was investigating a disturbance near Konoha's dimensional border, then everything went sideways. If you know someone who might have answers, I'd appreciate the introduction. Kimberly studied him for another long moment before sighing. Fine, but if you make any suspicious moves, you'll what? Naruto asked with genuine curiosity. That monster was tough, but nothing compared to what I've faced. If I wanted conflict, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Rather than being intimidated, Kimberly's expression hardened with determination. Then you haven't seen what we're capable of at full strength. Don't mistake our welcome for weakness. Naruto couldn't help the small smile that formed. Her spirit reminded him of Sakura, fierce determination hiding beneath a composed exterior. Understood. Lead the way. Jason activated his communicator. Alpha, we've got a visitor. 6 to teleport. Teleport. Naruto questioned. Light enveloped them before anyone could answer. Naruto felt his body dissolve into particles, consciousness remaining intact as he traveled through some form of energy network. The sensation was similar to the flying Raijin technique, except he wasn't controlling the process. Reality reconstructed around him. They materialized in a circular chamber filled with technology far beyond anything in the elemental nations. Consoles covered in blinking lights surrounded a central pedestal. A small robot with a domed head shuffled excitedly at their arrival. Aye, Rangers, you've brought a stranger to the command center. Easy, Alpha, Jason reassured the robot. He helped us against one of Zed's monsters. We thought Zordon should meet him. Naruto's attention was drawn to the massive transparent tube dominating one wall. Within it, a giant disembodied head appeared, composed of energy rather than flesh. Welcome, Rangers, the entity spoke, voice resonating with power that Naruto could feel against his chakra network. And to our visitor, I am Zordon of ELTAR, mentor to the Power Rangers. Naruto approached the tube, senses extending to analyze this being. Not human, certainly, but not like any tailed beast or summons either. The energy pattern was ancient and complex, structured differently from chakra yet somehow familiar. Naruto Uzumaki, shinobi of Konohagakure, he introduced himself with a respectful nod. I seem to have been transported to your world through some kind of dimensional rift. Indeed, Zordon confirmed. Our sensors detected a significant dimensional disturbance shortly before your arrival. Such occurrences are rare and often indicate greater cosmic forces at work. Can you send me back? Naruto asked directly. Perhaps, with time and study. However, Zordon paused, his energy form fluctuating. There is something unusual about your energy signature. Alpha, scan our visitor. He robot approached with a handheld device. Hold still please. This won't hurt a bit. Naruto remained motionless as energy washed over him, though his senses tracked every fluctuation. The robot's demeanor shifted from cautious to excited as readings appeared on a nearby console. Aye, Zordon, these readings are impossible. His energy contains harmonic frequencies that match the morphing grid, but with patterns I've never seen before. The Rangers exchanged glances while Zordon's expression became contemplative. Most interesting. Naruto Uzumaki, the energy you call chakra shares fundamental properties with our morphing grid, the energy source that powers the Ranger's abilities. Yet yours has evolved differently, suggesting your dimension diverged from ours eons ago. Billy approached the console, studying the readings with scientific curiosity. Fascinating. The quantum signature suggests his dimensional frequency is only 0.003 degrees separated from our own. That's the closest parallel dimension we've ever encountered. What does that mean exactly? Naruto asked, processing the unfamiliar terminology through context. It means, Trini explained, that our worlds are like siblings rather than distant cousins. They likely shared an origin point before separating into distinct realities. Kimberly crossed her arms, still watching Naruto with suspicion. This is all very scientific. But it doesn't explain why he appeared right when Zed attacked, or why his powers seem perfectly suited to fighting our enemies. I was investigating an unusual energy source near Konoha, Naruto offered. Something was distorting the dimensional barrier. When I used my Sage mode to analyze it, there was a reaction with my chakra. Next thing I knew, I was falling from the sky here. Perhaps not coincidence, Zordon suggested. The prophecy of the Crimson Dragon speaks of a warrior from beyond our dimension, one whose power would resonate with all coins. The Rangers reacted with varying degrees of surprise and disbelief. Zordon, you can't seriously think the legend refers to him, Kimberly protested. We don't know anything about him. I must agree with Kimberly's assessment, Billy added. The statistical probability of a dimensional traveler randomly fulfilling an ancient prophecy seems improbably low. Legends often contain truth obscured by time, Zordon replied. Alpha, bring forth the red dragon coin. The robot shuffled to a secured chamber, entering a complex sequence. The chamber opened with a hiss, revealing a golden coin embossed with the image of a dragon. Even from across the room, Naruto could feel it pulse with energy that called to his chakra like a distant echo. The dragon coin hasn't responded to anyone since its creation, Jason noted. We've tried every potential ranger candidate on Earth. Alpha carefully placed the coin on a central pedestal. The prophecy states that only the Crimson Dragon can awaken its power and unite all coins under one command. Naruto approached cautiously, senses extending toward the artifact. The coin's energy reached back, tendrils of power intertwining with his chakra in mutual recognition. I feel it, he murmured. It's like it knows me somehow. Approach, Naruto Uzumaki, Zordon instructed. Let us see if the prophecy speaks true. Kimberly moved to intervene. Zordon, we can't just hand over one of our most powerful artifacts to a complete stranger. The Pink Ranger raises valid security concerns, Alpha acknowledged. Your caution is noted, Kimberly, Zordon replied. However, the coin itself will judge worthiness. It cannot be commanded by those it does not choose. Naruto respected Kimberly's protective instinct but kept his focus on the coin. As he extended his hand toward it, the artifact began to glow with increasing intensity. Crimson light spiraled upward, forming the ethereal image of a dragon that circled his arm. The moment his fingers touched the metal surface, power surged through his chakra network. Unlike the invasive nature of the Nine Tails chakra, this energy melded harmoniously with his own, amplifying rather than corrupting. Naruto felt the coin's consciousness, ancient and wise, evaluating him, examining his memories, his battles, his growth from outcast to hero. Crimson light enveloped him entirely. When it receded, Naruto stood transformed. Armor reminiscent of the Rangers' uniforms covered his body, predominantly crimson with gold accents that resembled stylized flames. His helmet featured a dragon motif, the visor shaped like draconic eyes. Most notably, the armor incorporated elements of his Sage mode, natural energy symbols embedded in the gauntlets and chest plate. The prophecy is fulfilled, Zordon declared. The Crimson Dragon Ranger stands before us. Impossible, Kimberly whispered, though the evidence was undeniable. Naruto examined his transformed state, feeling the ranger powers integrating with his chakra. The combination multiplied his capabilities exponentially. Strength, speed, sensory perception all enhanced beyond their already formidable levels. This power, he began, voice resonating differently through the helmet. It's working with my chakra, not replacing it. The dragon coin was always theorized to adapt to its wielder rather than imposing a standardized power set, Billy observed. It's reconfiguring itself to optimize compatibility with your unique energy signature. The armor dissolved suddenly, returning to civilian form as Naruto's chakra network adjusted to the new power influx. The coin remained in his palm, now marked with additional symbols that resembled fuinjutsu from his world. I don't understand what all this means, Naruto admitted, but if this coin chose me, there must be a reason. Indeed, Zordon confirmed. The emergence of the Dragon Ranger has long been prophesied to coincide with a threat beyond any the Rangers have faced. Our arrival suggests such dangers approach. Great, Zack sighed, as if Zed wasn't enough trouble already. Jason stepped forward, extending his hand toward Naruto. Prophecy or not, you fought alongside us today. That counts for something in my book. Naruto accepted the handshake, appreciating the straightforward approach. Thanks. Though I get the feeling not everyone shares your trust. His eyes shifted toward Kimberly, who made no effort to hide her skepticism. She met his gaze directly, chin raised slightly in defiance. I've seen too many of Rita and Zed's tricks to accept coincidences, she stated plainly. You appear out of nowhere, destroy a monster with ease, and happen to fulfill an ancient prophecy. That's a lot to take on faith. Kimberly's caution is understandable, Zordon intervened. Trust must be earned. Naruto, while we investigate means of returning you home, would you be willing to assist the Rangers if needed? Of course, Naruto replied without hesitation. Protecting people is what I do, regardless of which dimension they're in. Then perhaps a demonstration of your abilities would help us understand how best to coordinate, Trini suggested diplomatically. Our training facility can withstand most power levels. Good idea, Jason agreed. It'll give us all a chance to see what our new ally can do. Kimberly remained silent, but her postu suggested reluctant acceptance of the majority decision. Naruto could read the protective instinct behind her suspicion. She was guarding her team, her friends. He respected that more than immediate trust would have indicated. Alpha activated a teleportation sequence, transporting the group to an expansive underground facility. The training area featured various combat simulations, equipment, and what appeared to be holographic technology. Standard assessment protocol, Billy suggested. Physical capabilities first, then energy projection, tactical analysis, and compatibility testing. Works for me, Jason confirmed. Naruto, we'll start with basic physical parameters if that's okay. Nothing too strenuous, just establishing baselines. Naruto nodded, removing his orange and black jacket to reveal a fitted black t-shirt underneath. The Rangers couldn't help but notice the defined musculature, evidence of years of physical training. Begin with the reaction time assessment, Trini suggested. Moving to a control panel. Standard sequence, level 3. Holographic projectors activated, creating a 3-dimensional training grid. Target drones materialized at various points around Naruto, who stood relaxed yet alert in the center. The objective is to tag each drone as it activates, Billy explained. They'll appear randomly with increasing speed. Got it, Naruto confirmed, settling into a ready stance. The first drone activated with a green light. Naruto's hand blurred as he tapped it precisely. A second and third activated simultaneously at opposite ends of the grid. Without hesitation, Naruto created 2 shadow clones that intercepted each target perfectly. Wait, did he just duplicate himself? Zack exclaimed. Fascinating. Billy adjusted his glasses. Some form of quantum replication. Shadow clone jutsu, Naruto explained as his clones dispelled. Basic technique where I'm from. Each clone has independent thought and physical form. Trini increased the difficulty. Let's try level 7. Drones began activating in rapid succession, sometimes a dozen simultaneously. Naruto moved with fluid precision, occasionally employing more clones when necessary. His movements displayed not just speed but economy of motion, no wasted energy or unnecessary flourishes. Kimberly observed critically, noting how Naruto adapted to the increasing difficulty without apparent strain. The readout showed his reaction time exceeding even Ranger-enhanced capabilities. He's not even breathing hard, she noted to Jason. And he's not using that coin's power. Level 10, Trini announced, pushing the system to its maximum setting. The simulator's pace became practically invisible to normal human perception. Drones activated and deactivated in milliseconds, requiring superhuman reflexes to track. Naruto's movement became a continuous flow, his body responding before conscious thought could process the targets. When the simulation ended, the scoreboard displayed perfect accuracy across all 500 targets. Naruto stood in the center, barely showing signs of exertion. That was a good warm-up, he commented. What's next? The Rangers exchange impressed glances, all except Kimberly, whose expression remained carefully neutral. Physical strength assessment, Jason decided. This machine measures impact force up to the equivalent of 50 tons. Naruto approached the reinforced striking pad. With or without chakra enhancement? Let's see both, Billy suggested. Baseline first, then with enhancement. Naruto nodded, settling in to stance before delivering a perfectly executed straight punch. The machine registered impact force equivalent to 5 tons, impressive for an unmorphed human but nothing extraordinary by Ranger standards. Now with your enhancement, Trini prompted. Naruto channeled chakra to his fist, a controlled amount rather than maximum output. His next strike registered 25 tons, cracking the reinforced material. Sorry about that, he apologized. I was holding back quite a bit. No need for apology, Billy assured him. The equipment is designed to be replaced. Would you be comfortable demonstrating your maximum output? Naruto considered the request. My strongest techniques aren't really suited for indoor use. They tend to cause significant collateral damage. We have an T-door testing range specifically for high-yield power assessment, Trini offered. It's isolated within a containment field. The group teleported to a canyon area, surrounded by energy barriers that shimmered faintly against the afternoon sun. Scorch marks and impact craters from previous tests marked the landscape. This area can withstand directed energy equivalent to small tactical nuclear yields, Billy explained. We use it for testing our Zords, weapons systems. Zords? Naruto questioned. Giant mechanical fighting machines we pilot, Zack clarified. For when monsters decide to supersize. Naruto nodded, processing this information as he surveyed the testing range. I should still be careful. My most powerful techniques combine Sage Chakra with Tailed Beast energy, which can be unpredictable in new environments. We're monitoring from a safe distance, Jason assured him from behind the barrier. Show us what you can do. Naruto moved to the center of the range, creating a shadow clone to assist with chakra shaping. He began gathering natural energy, his appearance shifting slightly as orange pigmentation appeared around his eyes. That's Sage mode, he explained as the clone dispelled. It allows me to draw on nature's energy to enhance my abilities. The sensors around the field registered massive energy spikes as Naruto's chakra reserves fully activated. Gold chakra began emanating from his body, forming a glowing aura that shifted into distinctive patterns. Incredible, Billy murmured, checking readings. His energy output just increased exponentially. Naruto raised his hand, condensing chakra into a small, dense sphere. This is the Rasengan, my signature technique. The swirling orb of energy grew as he channeled more power into it. When combined with wind nature chakra, it becomes the Rasenshuriken. The sphere expanded, sprouting blade-like protrusions that rotated with increasing speed. The sound of screaming wind filled the Nyan as the technique reached completion. Stand back, Naruto warned before launching the technique toward an unoccupied section of the range. The Rasenshuriken cut through the air with frightening velocity before expanding into a massive sphere of destructive energy upon impact. The resulting explosion carved a perfect hemisphere from the bedrock, disintegrating everything within its radius at the molecular level. When the light faded, a crater nearly 50 meters across remained, its surface glassy and smooth from the intense energy release. Silence fell as the Rangers processed the demonstration of raw power. That, Zack finally broke the silence, was just one attack. I have stronger ones, Naruto admitted as his Sage mode faded, but they require more space and preparation. Kimberly stepped forward, expression serious. You could have killed us all if you'd used that in the city. I wouldn't have, Naruto countered calmly. The version I used against the monster was precisely controlled, focused on cellular destruction within a contained target. A shinobi learns control before power. He's right, Trini confirmed, reviewing sensor data. The energy distributee in his earlier attack was remarkably focused compared to this demonstration. Rangers, Naruto, Zordon's voice came through their communicators. Return to the command center immediately. The SCA-NNERS have detected another dimensional anomaly. They teleported back, materializing before Zordon's tube where Alpha was frantically working controls. Aye, it's happening again. Another dimensional breach. Same signature as before. Location. Jason demanded. Angel Grove Park. Near the lake, Alpha reported. Energy readings are increasing. We should investigate immediately, Billy suggested. If more entities are crossing over, or if it's a way home, Naruto interrupted, attention focused on the viewing globe that showed a swirling vortex forming above the park. Proceed with caution, Rangers, Zordon advised. Naruto, the dragon coin responded to you for a reason. Whatever emerges from this portal may be connected to your arrival. I'm going, Naruto stated, not a request but a declaration. We'll all go, Jason decided. Morphed and ready for anything. Kimberly stepped closer to Naruto, studying him with renewed intensity. If this is some kind of trap or invasion from your world, then I'll stop it, he finished for her. My home isn't in the business of dimensional conquest. But if something dangerous followed me through, I'll take responsibility. Their eyes held for a moment longer than necessary, mutual assessment shifting subtly towards something resembling respect, if not yet trust. It's morphin time, Jason called. The Rangers activat their transformation sequences while Naruto focused on the dragon coin. Instinctively, he channeled chakra into the artifact, feeling the response as power flowed through his network. Crimson Dragon, he called, the phrase coming naturally as if the coin itself supplied the knowledge. Transformation energy engulfed him, armor materializing with greater definition than before. The Crimson Sway, featured gold trimming that resembled both draconic scales and the chakra patterns of his Six Paths Sage mode. His helmet formed last, visor shaped like dragon eyes that enhanced his sensory perception beyond even Sage mode capabilities. Whoa, Zack commented, that looks seriously upgraded from our standard suits. The dragon coin was theoretically designed to evolve with its user, Billy observed. It appears to be incorporating elements of Naruto's natural abilities into its manifestation. Let's move, Jason ordered. Alpha, teleport us to the anomaly site. Energy streams carried them to Angel Grove Park, where civilians were already fleeing the swirling vortex that hovered 10 meters above the lake surface. The distortion resembled Naruto's arrival point but larger, its edges crackling with unstable energy. Something's coming through, Trini observed, scanners active. Energy signature is similar to Naruto's but different. Similar how? Kimberly questioned, bow materializing in her hands. The base frequency matches, but the harmonic pattern is distinct, Billy explained. If Naruto's energy has a specific flavor, this is from the same family but a different variety. Naruto stepped forward, helmet retracting to reveal his face as he studied the portal. That's definitely from my world. The chakra signature is familiar somehow. The vortex pulsed, expanding suddenly before contracting around a single figure that emerged. A young woman with long dark hair and pale eyes fell toward the lake surface. Unlike Naruto's tumbling arrival, she oriented herself mid-air, feet touching the water without breaking the surface tension. Naruto's eyes widened in recognition. Hinata. The woman's head snapped up, pale eyes locking onto him instantly. Naruto-kun. She ran across the water's surface with practiced ease, chakra control perfect despite the dimensional transition. When she reached the shore, she moved directly to Naruto, relief evident in her expression. I found you, she said softly. When you disappeared investigating that disturbance, I activated my Byakugan and saw the dimensional tier. I followed your chakra signature through it. You tracked me across dimensions. Naruto asked, amazement evident in his voice. That's incredible even for Byakugan. Hinata nodded, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. I couldn't lose you again. Not after everything we've been through. Her attention shifted to his armor, pale eyes narrowing slightly. Your chakra has changed. There's something new mixed with it. It's called Ranger Power, Naruto explained. Helmet rematerializing briefly before disappearing again. This world has its own energy system. Apparently, I'm compatible with it. Hinata turned toward the Rangers, who remained in defensive formation. Her posture shifted subtly, from relieved civilian to trained shinobi, alert and ready. Are they allies? She asked quietly. Yes, Naruto confirmed. They protect this world from threats. This is Jason, Billy, Trini, Zack, and Kimberly. Everyone, this is Hinata Hyuga, one of Konoha's strongest shinobi and, he paused, an unidentifiable emotion flickering across his features, a dear friend. Kimberly's helmet retracted, her expression calculating as she observed the interaction and the way Hinata stood protectively near Naruto. Another ninja with similar powers. Convenient timing. I followed Naruto's chakra trail, Hinata explained calmly. The dimensional disturbance was localized in Konoha. Only those with specific chakra resonance could perceive it. That aligns with our sensor readings, Billy offered, helmet also retracting. The breach appears selective rather than random. Which means someone or something is controlling these dimensional openings, Trini concluded. But why? Jason questioned. What's the purpose of bringing specific individuals from another dimension to Angel Grove? Before anyone could theorize further, their communicators activated simultaneously. Rangers, return to the command center immediately, Zordon ordered. Lord Zed has launched another attack in the downtown district. The monster appears, specifically designed to counter ranger abilities. Duty calls, Jason sighed. Naruto, bring your friend. We'll sort this out after we deal with Zed's latest creation. Hinata, can you fight? Naruto asked quietly. She nodded. Byakugan activating. Veins bulged around her eyes as her vision extended to near omniscient levels. I see it. 3 kilometers northeast. Unusual chakra signature. Partially mechanical. Partially organic. Multiple civilians in danger. Impressive visual range, Billy noted. Your ocular abilities exceed our scanning technology. Teleporting now, Alpha announced through the communicator. Light enveloped them once more. As they materialized in downtown Angel Grove, Naruto found himself standing beside Kimberly, their armors reflecting the afternoon sun in crimson and pink patterns. After this, she said quietly, we need answers. Real ones. Agreed, Naruto replied. But first, let's protect your city. Kimberly's helmet reformed over her face. But not before Naruto caught the ghost of what might have been a smile. Let's see what the Dragon Ranger can really do. As they moved toward the disturbance, Naruto felt a strange certainty settling within him. Whatever force had brought him to this dimension, whatever prophecy he supposedly fulfilled, it felt right somehow. Like pieces of a puzzle he hadn't known existed were falling into place. The crimson armor responded to his thoughts, power flowing through channels that mirrored his chakra network. Behind him, Hinata moved with practiced grace, Byakugan active and searching. Ahead, a new battle awaited, one that would test this unexpected alliance further. For the first time since his arrival, Naruto allowed himself to consider the possibility that his appearance in this world wasn't an accident. That perhaps, like so many challenges before, this was exactly where he needed to be. Chapter 1 End Chapter 2, Worlds Apart. The command center hummed with activity as Alpha scurried between consoles. Mechanical arms adjusting controls with practiced efficiency. Zordon's energy form pulsed steadily within his time warp, ancient eyes observing the assembled group with Partic. Ular focus on the two-dimensional visitors. Hinata stood slightly behind Naruto, pale eyes taking in every detail of the technological marvel surrounding them. Her Byakugan had deactivated, but her trained senses remained on high alert. Cataloging potential threats and escape routes out of ingrained habit. The Rangers had demorphed after their successful battle against Zed's latest creation, a co-MBAT that had ended more efficiently than usual thanks to Naruto and Hinata's coordinated assistance. Your fighting techniques are remarkable, Billy observed, adjusting his glasses as he studied readouts from the battle. The complementary nature of your abilities suggests extensive training together. We've known each other since we were children, Hinata replied softly, her voice carrying a melodic quality that belied her combat prowess. Konoha's shinobi train in team formations from an early age. Your ocular ability, Byakugan, you called it. Trini approached with scientific curiosity. It allowed you to perceive weaknesses in the monster's structure that our scanners couldn't detect. Hinata nodded. The Byakugan sees chakra pathways and pressure points. Your monster had similar vulnerabilities despite its unusual composition. Most interesting, Zordon interjected, his resonant voice drawing everyone's attention. The arrival of two shinobi from a parallel dimension cannot be coincidence. Particularly when one fulfills an ancient prophecy. Naruto stepped forward, the dragon coin resting in his palm. Its surface gleamed with internal light that pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. You mentioned this prophecy before. What exactly does it say? And why did this coin choose me? Yeah, Zack added, leaning against a console. We've been hearing about the Dragon Ranger legend for years. But always in pieces. What's the full story, Zordon? Zordon's energy form shifted, expanding slightly as ancient memories surfaced. The prophecy dates back to the creation of the power coins themselves. When Ninjor forged the original coins, he created one final coin, the dragon coin, that refused all bearers. The viewing globe activated, displaying ancient hieroglyphs, YPHICS that morphed into recognizable images. The coin itself revealed the prophecy through visions. When worlds align and darkness rises, the crimson dragon shall emerge from beyond the veil. NEIT. Her fully of this world nor separate from it, the dragon shall command all coins as one, uniting powers that must stand against the void. That's cryptic, Jason commented, arms crossed over his chest. Typical of ancient prophecies, Billy noted, deliberately ambiguous language that allows for multiple interpretations. But it specifically mentions commanding all coins, Kimberly pointed out, her gaze shifting to Naruto. That's not something even Zordon can do. Alpha shuffled forward, mechanical arms gesturing expressively. The dragon coin was theorized to serve as a master key to the morphing grid itself. If the prophecy is true, Naruto could potentially channel the power of any coin through his own. Is that even possible? Trini questioned, scientific skepticism evident in her tone. I don't know, Zordon admitted, surprising the Rangers with his uncertainty. The dragon coin has remained dormant for millennia, its true capabilities unknown. But its response to Naruto suggests connections that transcend our understanding of the morphing grid. Hinata moved closer to Naruto, studying the coin with her natural perception. It contains energy similar to your tailed beast chakra, Naruto-kun. There's a resonance between them. You can sense that without your Byakugan? Billy asked, clearly impressed. Hinata has always been exceptionally sensitive to chakra fluctuations, Naruto explained. A note of pride in his voice that caused a faint blush to color Hinata's cheeks. Her clan specializes in energy perception and precise chakra control. Which brings us to the question of your return home. Jason interjected pragmatically. Alpha, what have we learned about the dimensional breach? The robot's lights dimmed slightly in the equivalent of a concerned expression. That's the troubling part. The breach hasn't sealed itself as we expected. Instead, it's stabilizing and growing. Naruto's expression sharpened. What exactly does that mean? Billy moved to the main console, bringing up detailed scans on the viewing globe. The dimensional tear that brought you here initially measured approximately 3 meters in diameter with fluctuating stability. After Hinata's arrival, instead of collapsing, it stabilized and expanded to nearly 5 meters. Our long-range sensors are now detecting similar but smaller breaches forming at 7 other locations around Angel Grove, Trini added, highlighting points on a city map. They're currently microscopic, but expanding at a consistent rate. Hinata activated her Byakugan, its range extending outward from the command center. I can see them. The energy signature matches the disturbance in Konoha perfectly. This suggests deliberate action rather than random phenomenon, Kimberly observed. Arms crossed defensively. Someone or something is punching holes between our dimensions, specifically here in Angel Grove. But why? Zack questioned. What's the endgame? Naruto's expression darkened with sudden realization. Before I was pulled through, I sensed something watching from the other side of the disturbance. Something that didn't feel like it belonged in either world. Most concerning. Zordon's tone grew graver. Throughout history, dimensional breaches have often preceded invasion attempts from hostile forces. Lord Zed may be involved, or perhaps something even more dangerous. Regardless of the cause, we need to monitor these breaches, Jason decided, natural leadership evident in his tone. If they're growing, we need to understand the potential threat and determine whether they can be closed. Until then, Trini added, gaze shifting between Naruto and Hinata, our dimensional visitors need somewhere to stay. They can't exactly check into a hotel without identification or local currency. I've got space at my apartment, Zack offered with a friendly smile. Bachelor pad's a bit messy, but the couch pulls out. That won't be necessary, Kimberly interjected unexpectedly. All eyes turned to her with varying degrees of surprise. She shifted slightly under the attention but maintained her composed expression. I have a guest room. 2 actually. My parents are in Europe for the next 6 months on business. It would make more sense to keep them somewhere supervised. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her choice of words. Supervised. Still don't trust us. Trust isn't binary, Kimberly replied evenly. I trust you fought alongside us. I don't yet trust the coincidence of your arrival, prophetic coin activation, and expanding dimensional breaches. Rather than taking offense, Naruto's expression relaxed into understanding. Fair enough. I'd feel the same way if strangers appeared in Konoha under similar circumstances. It's settled then. Jason nodded. Kimberly will provide accommodations while we investigate the breaches and determine our next steps. I must caution vigilance, Zordon advised. The drag on Ranger prophecy speaks of great darkness. If Naruto truly is the foretold warrior, then his arrival signifies impending danger beyond ordinary threats. We'll begin defense preparations, Billy assured him. I'll modify our detection grid to alert us to any additional dimensional anomalies. And I'll work with Hinata to compare energy signatures, Trini added. Her Byakugan might provide insights our technology misses. What about me? Naruto questioned, holding up the dragon coin. If this power is as significant as you suggest, I should learn how to use it properly. Kimberly sighed, resignation evident in her posture. I'll handle that. Ranger training is my specialty anyway. Thank you, Kimberly, Jason acknowledged with a subtle nod of approval. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning to coordinate our investigation. For now, everyone get some rest. It's been an unusual day. That's putting it mildly, Zack quipped, stretching his arms overhead. Not every day we get in. Interdimensional ninjas and prophecy fulfillment before dinner. Speaking of which, Naruto interjected, placing a hand over his stomach. Is there anywhere to get ramen in this dimension? Interdimensional travel works up an appetite. Kimberly's home sat nestled in a quiet suburban neighborhood, a spacious two-story structure with Spanish architectural influences. The front garden featured carefully maintained flowering plants and a small fountain. Inside, modern furnishings contrasted pleasantly with traditional elements, creating a space that felt both contemporary and timeless. Guest rooms are upstairs on the right, Kimberly explained as she led them through the entryway. Bathrooms between them. Kitchen and living areas are obviously down here. Make yourselves at home, but, she fixed Naruto with a pointed look. Don't touch anything that looks expensive or complicated. Do I really seem that clumsy to you? Naruto questioned, amusement rather than offense coloring his tone. You seem like someone who's never seen a microwave or television before, she countered accurately. Which means everything in this house is potentially confusing or dangerous in your hands. Hinata stepped forward, her natural grace evident even in this unfamiliar environment. We'll be respectful of your home, Kimberly-san. In our village, guests honor their host's property as they would a sacred space. Kimberly's expression softened slightly at Hinata's formal politeness. Thank you. And just Kimberly is fine. We don't use honorifics here. Cultural differences, Naruto observed, glancing around with undisguised curiosity. Your world is much more advanced technologically than ours. But I sense almost no ambient chakra in the environment. That's because we don't use chakra, Kimberly explained, setting her keys on a decorative bowl near the entrance. Most people here don't even believe it exists outside of Eastern philosophy concepts. Yet your morphing grid functions similarly, Hinata noted, pale eyes observing the subtle energy patterns throughout the house. It's weaker here than in your command center, but present nonetheless. The grid connects everything in our universe, Kimberly acknowledged, moving toward the kitchen. But only Rangers can consciously access and manipulate it. Are you both hungry? I promised food, though I'm warning you now that my cooking skills are limited to basics. Anything would be appreciated, Naruto replied diplomatically, following her while still taking in his surroundings with the wide-eyed wonder of a child in an unfamiliar festival. The kitchen featured modern appliances in stainless steel, granite countertops, and an island with bar seating. Kimberly opened the refrigerator, surveying its contents critically. I have ingredients for sandwiches, leftover pasta from yesterday, or I could order pizza, she offered, glancing over her shoulder. Though I have no idea what you're used to eating. We're adaptable, Naruto assured her, approaching the refrigerator with unconcealed fascination. The cool air emanating from the appliance made him blink in surprise. This keeps food cold without ice. Amazing. Kimberly fought back a smile at his genuine amazement. Yes, That's generally what refrigerators do. You really don't have them where you come from. We have cooling jutsu for food preservation, Hinata explained, examining the microwave with careful curiosity. But they require active chakra maintenance. Your technology accomplishes similar results without constant energy input. It's quite impressive. Wait until you see television, Kimberly remarked, pulling ingredients from the refrigerator. Let's start with sandwiches since they're simple, and you can tell me what you like and dislike for future reference. As she assembled various options on the counter, Naruto continued exploring the kitchen, examining appliances with childlike wonder while being careful not to activate anything without permission. Hinata assisted Kimberly more directly, her natural grace and observational skills allowing her to quickly grasp the basics of sandwich preparation despite the unfamiliar ingredients. You mentioned your parents are away, Hinata noted as she carefully spread mustard on bread with the precision of someone handling delicate scrolls. Do you live alone often? More often than not, Kimberly acknowledged, her tone casual but with an underlying note that suggested complicated feelings. Dad's in international finance, mom's in fashion design. Their careers keep them traveling. I stayed behind when I entered college locally. You're a student? Naruto asked, returning his attention to the conversation. Kinesiology major with business minor, Kimberly confirmed. Though ranger duties make maintaining a normal schedule challenging, I'm primarily focusing on my gymnastics training this semester. Gymnastics? Hinata questioned, the term unfamiliar. Kimberly's expression brightened slightly. Athletic discipline focusing on strength, balance, flexibility, and coordination. I competed nationally before ranger responsibilities took priority. That explains your fighting style, Naruto observed, leaning against the counter. The aerial maneuvers and precision movements. I noticed them during the battle today. Surprise flickered across Kimberly's features. You analyzed my fighting technique during combat. Of course, Naruto replied as if it were obvious. Understanding allies' capabilities is essential for effective teamwork. Your vehemence utilize momentum and leverage rather than raw power. Efficient and adaptable, Naruto-kun has always been more observant in battle than people give him credit for, Hinata added with quiet pride. His strategic mind is one of his greatest strengths. Kimberly studied them both for a moment before returning to sandwich preparation. You two seem very close. A complicated look passed between Naruto and Hinata, containing history and emotions too complex for simple definition. We've been through a lot together, Naruto finally answered, his tone warm but carefully neutral. Hinata has saved my life more than once. You've done the same for me, Hinata countered softly. And for our entire village. Village hero? Kimberly questioned, arching an eyebrow as she placed completed sandwiches on plates. Something like that, Naruto acknowledged with uncharacteristic modesty. Though it wasn't always that way. For most of my childhood, I was the village pariah. Because of the 9 tails, Hinata explained. Then paused at Kimberly's confused expression. Ah, you wouldn't know about that. Naruto-kun carries a powerful entity sealed within him, a tailed beast of immense chakra. Kimberly's posture stiffened slightly. You have a monster sealed inside you. Not exactly a monster, Naruto corrected, unconsciously placing a hand over his stomach where the seal remained. Kurama, the 9-tailed fox, is a being of incredible power. We've formed a partnership over time, though it wasn't always that way. And your village feared this. Kurama, Kimberly pressed, sliding plates across the counter. They feared what they didn't understand, Naruto replied, a flicker of old pain crossing his features. Children followed their parents' example. I grew up isolated, acting out for attention. It took years and many battles to change perceptions. Hinata's expression softened with remembered sorrow. While others shunned him, I always saw Naruto-kun's true strength and heart. Something in their exchange resonated with Kimberly, though she couldn't precisely identify why. Perhaps it was the familiar echo of being misunderstood, of fighting to define oneself beyond others' expectations. Well, she said finally, gesturing toward the living room, let's eat these before they get cold. And I can show you what television is while we're at it. The living room featured comfortable furnishings arranged around a large television set. Kimberly demonstrated the remote control, explaining basic functions while Naruto and Hinata observed with varying degrees of amazement as images appeared on the screen. It's like a genjutsu, but mechanical, Hinata observed, Byakugan briefly activating to examine the device's internal workings. Not quite the same, Kimberly corrected, settling into an armchair while the visitors took the couch. These are recordings of real events or performances by actors, transmitted through signals. No illusions involved. New footage transitioned to what appeared to be a historical documentary. Naruto watched with fascination as scenes from World War II played across the screen. Your wars are different, he noted between bites of sandwich. Massive armies with mechanical weapons rather than shinobi specializing in ninjutsu. We don't have chakra manipulation or jutsu, Kimberly reminded him. Our military development followed technological paths instead. Yet your ranger powers seem to blend technology with energy manipulation, Hinata observed thoughtfully. Almost like a bridge between our approaches. That's actually insightful, Kimberly acknowledged, genuine respect entering her tone for the first time. Ranger technology was developed by advanced civilizations that understood both science and energy manipulation on levels we're still struggling to comprehend. Naruto finished his sandwich in record time, setting the plate aside. Speaking of ranger powers, when do we start training with this? He produced the dragon coin, its surface catching the room's light with an almost sentient gleam. Tomorrow morning, Kimberly replied firmly. Tonight is about acclimation and rest. Dimension. Travel clearly hasn't affected your appetite, but you both need time to adjust before intensive training. Kimberly is right, Naruto-kun, Hinata supported gently. Even your stamina has limits. And we've experienced significant physiological stress crossing dimensional boundaries. Naruto relented with good-natured acceptance. Fine, but I want to start early. If this coin really does connect to all others as Zordon suggested, I need to understand its capabilities fully. 6 a.m. at the command center, Kimberly stated, rising to collect empty plates. I don't do anything half measures when it comes to training. So be prepared for intensity. I never back down from a challenge, Naruto replied with a confident smile that Kimberly found simultaneously irritating and oddly compelling. We'll see if you're still saying that tomorrow afternoon, she countered, heading toward the kitchen with their dishes. Left momentarily alone, Naruto turned to Hinata with a softened expression. You okay? Following me through that dimensional rift was incredibly dangerous. I couldn't let you face this alone, she replied simply, pale eyes meeting his with unwavering conviction. When you disappeared, Kakashi-sensei organized search parties, but I knew conventional methods wouldn't work. The Byakugan allowed me to perceive the dimensional tear. Still, Naruto pressed, genuine concern evident. You took an enormous risk. A gentle smile curved Hinata's lips. I've always followed you into danger, Naruto-kun. That hasn't changed. Their conversation paused as Kimberly returned, sensing she'd interrupted something significant. She hesitated briefly before speaking. I should show you both to your rooms. The bathroom has basic toiletries, but I'll need to find you some change of clothes. My father's things might fit Naruto, though they'll be a bit large. Hinata, you're closer to my size. Thank you for your generosity, Hinata responded with a polite bow that seemed to momentarily disconcert Kimberly. It's practical, not generous, she deflected, leading them toward the stairs. Having you both nearby means we can respond quickly to any dimensional anomalies or attacks. Still, we appreciate it, Naruto added, following her upward. Being stranded in an unfamiliar world without allies would be significantly more challenging. Kimberly glanced back, expression unreadable. Just remember, Naruto, that coin chose you for a reason. Prophecy or coincidence, you're connected to whatever's happening. That makes you both potential assets and potential liabilities. Your caution is understandable, he acknowledged without offense. In your position, I'd maintain similar reservations. As long as we understand each other, Kimberly concluded, reaching the upstairs landing. Guest rooms are here and here. Bathroom between them. My room's at the end of the hall if there's an emergency. I suggest we all get some rest. Tomorrow promises to be eventful. Dawn painted the sky in watercolor hues of amber and rose as Kimberly led Naruto and Hinata across the deserted training grounds adjacent to the command center. The underground facility extended beyond Zordon's chamber, incorporating specialized areas for ranger conditioning and power development. This particular field, sheltered from public view by holographic camouflage, provided ample space for physical training. Kimberly had arrived at precisely 5:45 a.m. to find both shinobi already awake and prepared. Naruto wore borrowed athletic clothes that fit reasonably well, while Hinata had been provided with similar attire adjusted to her smaller frame. Both moved with the unconscious grace of lifelong warriors, their bodies conditioned through years of rigorous training. Before we activate any ranger powers, Kimberly began, her tone shifting to instructional professionalism, I need to understand your baseline capabilities more thoroughly. Yesterday's demonstration showed impressive energy manipulation, but ranger powers build on physical fundamentals. Makes sense, Naruto agreed, rolling his shoulders to loosen muscles. Where do we start? Combat assessment, Kimberly decided, removing her light jacket to reveal a fitted pink tank top over black athletic leggings. No energy enhancement for either of us, pure physical technique only. I need to evaluate your movement patterns and fighting style. You want to spar, Naruto clarified, surprise evident in his tone. Problem with that, Kimberly challenged, moving to the center of the field and settling into a fighting stance that blended gymnastics flexibility with martial arts precision. Naruto exchanged a quick glance with Hinata, who offered a subtle nod of encouragement. No problem. Just didn't expect such a direct approach. Rangers learn by doing, Kimberly stated simply. Show me what you've got, Prophecy Boy. The nickname sparked a competitive gleam in Naruto's eyes as he moved to face her. He settled into a relaxed stance that appeared almost casual to untrained observation but contained balanced readiness that Kimberly immediately recognized as advanced training. Ladies first, he offered with a hint of a smile. Kimberly's response came in the form of movement rather than words. She launched forward with explosive speed, executing a combination of strikes that would have overwhelmed an ordinary opponent. Naruto deflected each attack with minimal motion, his hands intercepting her strikes with practiced precision. His defensive style revealed extensive combat experience. Economical movements conserving energy while analyzing her patterns. Not bad, Kimberly acknowledged, disengaging to reassess. But purely defensive won't get you far as a ranger. Just getting a feel for your style, Naruto replied, his casual demeanor unchanged despite the intensity of her assault. You combine gymnastic mobility with precision strikes targeting vulnerable points. Impressive balance and flexibility. Kimberly narrowed her eyes, recognizing his tactical assessment for what it was. She altered her approach, incorporating feints and misdirection into her next combination. Naruto adapted instantly, reading her intentions with uncanny perception. This time, he countered with his own strikes, pulled just short of contact but demonstrating lethal precision. Their exchange accelerated, movements blurring as they tested each other's capabilities. Kimberly incorporated aerial techniques that leveraged her gymnastic background, while Naruto displayed fighting patterns unfamiliar to her experience. His style blended multiple disciplines with improvisational adaptability that made him unpredictable despite his fundamental adherence to recognizable martial principles. From the sidelines, Hinata observed with her Byakugan active, monitoring chakra patterns in both combatants. Even without conscious enhancement, trace amounts of energy flowed through their movements. Kimberly's connection to the morphing grid manifested in subtle pink energy signatures, while Naruto's chakra network pulsed with its characteristic blue-gold resonance. The sparring session continued for 15 minutes without either combatant gaining decisive advantage. Kimberly's technical precision matched against Naruto's adaptability created a fascinating counterpoint of styles. When He finally separated by mutual agreement, both breathed heavily from exertion. You're holding back significantly, Kimberly observed, wiping perspiration from her forehead. But your fundamentals are exceptional. Who trained you? Multiple teachers over the years, Naruto replied, barely winded despite the intense exchange. Iruka-sensei, Kakashi-sensei, Jiraiya, and combat experience against countless opponents with unique fighting styles. He's being modest, Hinata interjected softly. Naruto-kun has faced and defeated some of the most powerful shinobi in our world's history. Kimbe. Arlie's expression reflected reassessment as she studied Naruto with new consideration. The dragon coin choosing you makes more sense now. Your combat instincts are incredibly refined. You're pretty impressive yourself, Naruto acknowledged genuinely. Without chakra enhancement, your physical capabilities exceed most Jonin-level shinobi I've fought. Ranger training builds on natural abilities, Kimberly explained, retrieving water bottles from her bag and offering them to both visitors. The morphing grid enhances what's already there, which is why Rangers are selected for specific attributes beyond just fighting skill. What attributes led to your selection? Hinata inquired, accepting the water with a graceful nod. A flicker of nostalgia crossed Kimberly's features. According to Zordon, the pink power coin responds to agility, adaptability, and precision. Each color has different affinities: red for leadership, blue for intelligence, yellow for courage, black for creativity. And the dragon coin? Naruto questioned, unconsciously touching his pocket where the artifact rested. Unknown until now, Kimberly admitted. The prophecy suggests it transcends individual attributes to somehow unify all aspects. Speaking of which, a new voice interrupted as Billy approached from the command center entrance. I've been analyzing the dragon coin's energy signature overnight, and the results are fascinating. The Blue Ranger joined them, carrying a tablet-like device displaying complex energy patterns. The coin appears to be reconfiguring itself to match Naruto's unique energy structure. It's not just accepting him as a user, it's actively adapting to optimize compatibility with his chakra network. Is that normal for power coins? Hinata asked. Byakugan act. I've adding briefly to examine the data from a different perspective. Not at all, Billy replied with scientific excitement. Our coins remain static entities with fixed properties. The dragon coin appears semi-sentient, evolving its quantum structure to integrate with Naruto's energy pattern, which might explain why it rejected all previous candidates, Kimberly theorized. It was waiting for someone with a specific energy signature, or creating itself for that signature, Billy suggested, adjusting his glasses. Temporal causality becomes complex when dealing with ancient artifacts connected to the morphing grid. The coin may have been anticipating Naruto's arrival for millennia. Naruto extracted the coin from his pocket, studying its gleaming surface with renewed wonder. It felt like recognition when I first touched it. Like meeting someone you've known all your life but just forgotten. Try morphing now, Kimberly suggested suddenly. I want to see the transformation without battle pressure. Naruto nodded, holding the coin before him as instinct guided his actions. It's morphin' time. Crimson Dragon. Energy erupted from the coin, enveloping Naruto in swirling MSON light interlaced with golden patterns. The transformation sequence differed noticeably from standard Ranger morphing. The energy spiraled in patterns reminiscent of his Rasengan technique, integrating with his chakra network rather than simply overlaying it. When the light subsided, the Crimson Dragon Ranger stood before them. The armor appeared more defined than during yesterday's Emergank. Why transformation? Scales of burnished gold articulated across crimson plating that shifted with liquid grace as he moved. The helmet featured a draconic design with a visor shaped like stylized eyes, emanating a subtle glow that matched his chakra signature. Remarkable, Billy breathed, scanners capturing data. The armor's molecular structure is integrating chakra pathways that mirror Naruto's internal network. It's not just covering him, it's becoming an extension of his biological systems. Hinata stepped forward, Byakugan fully activated. I can see it. The armor channels chakra like our ninja tools, but at a vastly more sophisticated level. It's amplifying his natural energy while adding something else, something connected to this world's power sources. Naruto examined his armored hands, flexing gauntleted fingers as he acclimated to the sensation. It feels right, like wearing a second skin that enhances rather than restricts. Try accessing weapons, Kimberly instructed, professional curiosity overriding her earlier reservations. Each ranger suit connects to specific armaments through the morphing grid. Naruto focused, reaching instinctively into the connection between coin and consciousness. Energy coalesced in his right hand, forming a staff-like weapon of crimson metal with draconic embellishments at both ends. Unlike standard ranger weapons, the staff seemed to incorporate design elements reminiscent of his world's ninja tools. The dragon staff, Billy identified, scanners capturing specifications. Theorized but never before manifested. According to ancient texts, it can reconfigure to multiple forms based on the wielder's needs. As if responding to Billy's observation, the staff shifted in Naruto's grasp, one end transforming into a curved blade while the other developed a weighted striking surface. With another thought, It reconfigured again into dual short swords connected by an energy tether. This is incredible, Naruto acknowledged, testing the weapon's balance as it returned to staff configuration. It responds to intention almost like a chakra construct. Try energy projection, Kimberly suggested, moving back to provide space. Each ranger can channel their grid connection through their weapons for ranged attacks. Naruto nodded, instinctively combining ranger knowledge with his shinobi training. He channeled energy into the staff, which began glowing with intensifying brilliance. When he directed it toward an unoccupied section of the field, a beam of concentrated energy erupted from the tip, striking the ground with explosive force that left a smoking crater. Whoa, Naruto muttered, studying the weapon with newfound respect. That was just a fraction of potential output. The readings are off the charts, Billy confirmed. Reviewing sensor data, you're channeling both morphing grid energy and your internal chakra simultaneously, creating a harmonic resonance that amplifies both. Kimberly Studi, Ed the destruction with professional assessment. Power without control is dangerous. We need to work on precision before magnitude. Agreed, Naruto acknowledged, armor dissolving as he deactivated the transformation. The dragon coin returned to his palm, warm from energy transfer. In shinobi training, we learn chakra control before developing powerful techniques. The principles should apply here as well. Good, Kimberly nodded with approval. At least you understand the fundamentals of responsible power usage. That's more than some rangers managed at first. Tommy, Billy guessed with a knowing smile. Tommy, among others, Kimberly confirmed with a reminiscent sigh. The Green Ranger powers were particularly volatile before he mastered proper channeling techniques. Speaking of other rangers, Hinata interjected gently, would it be possible for me to observe more of your team's abilities? Understanding your fighting styles would help me provide better support during combined operations. That's actually an excellent suggestion, Billy agreed enthusiastically. Jason and the others should be arriving shortly for scheduled training. Integrated practice would benefit everyone involved. As if summoned by mention, teleportation light announced the arrival of the remaining rangers. Jason, Trini, and Zack materialized on the field, dressed in workout clothes color-coded to their ranger designations. Morning, team, Jason greeted, surveying the assembled group. How's our interdimensional recruit progressing? Exceeding expectations, Billy reported, displaying data readings. The Dragon Coin's integration with Naruto's unique energy system is creating capabilities beyond our standard parameters. Translation. Prophecy Boy's a natural, Kimberly summarized more succinctly, though her tone carried a hint of genuine admiration beneath the casual delivery. Impressive, Jason acknowledged with a nod toward Naruto. We could use all the firepower we can get. The dimensional breaches Alpha detected yesterday have doubled in size overnight. 8 locations now, Trini elaborated, producing her own data tablet. Still small, but expanding at an accelerating rate. If the pattern continues, we'll have visible portals within 48 hours. Any indication what might come through? Kimberly questioned, professional demeanor instantly replacing her instructor persona. Nothing conclusive, Trini replied, but energy signatures match the original breach that brought Naruto here. More shinobi, Zack suggested, glancing toward their visitors. Possibly, Hinata acknowledged, concern evident in her pale eyes. But something was interfering with dimensional boundaries before Naruto investigated. Whatever caused the initial disturbance. Maybe exploiting the connection between worlds. We need more information, Jason decided. Naruto, Hinata, would you be willing to visit each breach site? Your familiarity with the energy signature might provide insights our technology misses. Of course, Naruto agreed immediately. If something dangerous is crossing between dimensions, we're partially responsible for stopping it. I can use my Byakugan to examine the dimensional boundaries, Hinata offered. Perhaps detect patterns invisible to conventional observation. Excellent, Jason nodded approvingly. We'll split into teams to cover ground more efficiently. Kimberly, you take Naruto to the eastern sites. Trini, pair with Hinata for the western locations. Billy, Zack and I will monitor from the command center and respond to any emergencies. Teams of 2 with our communicators will be most efficient, Trini agreed, already sorting equipment. I've prepared portable scanners calibrated to the specific quantum frequencies we're tracking. Kimberly's expression revealed momentary hesitation at being paired with Naruto, but professional focus quickly reasserted itself. "We'll take my car. The eastern sites are scattered across residential areas where teleportation might attract attention." "One moment," Billy interjected, approaching Naruto with a wrist device. "This communicator will allow you to contact us and access teleportation in emergencies. I've calibrated it to interface with your unique energy signature." Naruto accepted the device, securing it around his left wrist. "Thanks. This technology is incredible compared to our communication systems. Your world developed chakra manipulation while ours focused on technological advancement," Trini observed thoughtfully. "Different evolutionary paths from potentially common origins." "Philosophical discussions can wait," Jason interrupted pragmatically. "Let's move out. Report any significant findings immediately, and avoid civilian attention where possible." The teams dispersed with practiced efficiency, rangers accustomed to urgent missions. As Kimberly led Naruto toward the parking area, her posture communicated professional detachment, though occasional glances suggested continued assessment of her temporary partner. Kimberly's car, a pink convertible maintained with meticulous care, navigated smoothly through Angel Grove's eastern suburbs. Naruto occupied the passenger seat, blue eyes constantly scanning their surroundings with trained awareness that didn't interfere with his evident fascination with the vehicle itself. "This mechanical transportation is remarkably efficient," he observed, fingers hovering near but not touching the dashboard controls. "Much faster than foot travel, even for shinobi." "It's just a car," Kimberly replied, though a hint of pride colored her tone. "Nothing special by our standards. Most people here have them." "Your world's technological development followed different priorities," Naruto noted thoughtfully. "In the elemental nations, transportation innovation focused on enhancing physical capabilities rather than mechanical substitutions. Different necessities driving different solutions," Kimberly acknowledged. Turning onto a residential street lined with oak trees. "The first breach site should be in the park ahead, a small green space between housing developments." The car pulled into a modest parking area adjacent to community recreational facilities. Early morning joggers circled a perimeter path while a few parents supervised young children on playground equipment. Nothing in the peaceful scene suggested interdimensional anomalies. "Seems normal," Naruto observed as they exited the vehicle. "But I can feel something, a distortion in the natural energy flow." "The scanner indicates the breach is located near the central gazebo," Kimberly reported, consulting the device Trini had provided. "Barely detectable without specialized equipment." They proceeded casually through the park, maintaining the appearance of normal visitors while their senses remained hyperalert. The gazebo, a white wooden structure surrounded by flowering bushes, stood empty in the morning light. "There," Naruto identified, stopping several meters from the structure. "Can you feel it?" Kimberly concentrated, her ranger-enhanced senses detecting subtle wrongness in the atmosphere. "Like static electricity, but deeper somehow, more fundamental." "Exactly," Naruto confirmed, approaching carefully. "The dimensional boundary is thinning. Reality itself is becoming permeable here." "What happens if it fully breaches?" Kimberly questioned, scanner recording fluctuations in energy patterns. "Depends on what's pushing from the other side," Naruto replied grimly. Dimensional boundaries naturally resist intrusion. Something is actively weakening them. "Intentional, then," Kimberly concluded, photographing the site with her device. "Can you determine more with your abilities?" Naruto nodded, centering himself as he activated Sage Mode. Orange pigmentation appeared around his eyes as he connected with natural energy currents. His expanded consciousness extended through dimensional layers, perceiving the subtle tears in reality's fabric. "There's a pattern," he observed, voice distant with concentration. "The breach isn't random, it's being shaped somehow. Like someone's carving a specific opening rather than simply tearing through." "Shaped how?" Kimberly pressed, moving closer despite instinctive caution. "Like a symbol or seal," Naruto elaborated, eyes still closed in concentration. "Familiar somehow, but distorted. Almost like fuinjutsu from my world, but with elements I don't recognize." "Can you reproduce it?" Kimberly asked, offering her tablet's drawing application. Naruto's eyes opened, Sage Mode fading as he accepted the device. With careful precision, He sketched a complex geometric pattern interlaced with symbolic elements Hat combined angular precision with flowing curves. The resulting design radiated ominous purpose even as a simple drawing. This is approximate, he explained, returning the tablet. The actual dimensional carving exists across multiple planes of reality simultaneously. Kimberly studied the image with focused intensity. I've seen elements of this before. Some symbols resemble ancient writing in Zordon's archives. The rest resembles advanced fuinjutsu, sealing techniques from our world, Naruto confirmed. Someone's combining knowledge from both dimensions. Which should be impossible unless they've had access to both worlds for some time, Naruto completed her thought, expression darkening. This wasn't started recently. These breaches have been in preparation for months, maybe years. We need to check the other sites, Kimberly decided, already moving toward her car. If they're forming a pattern across the city, then Angel Grove itself might be the target, Naruto concluded grimly. Or the focus of something larger. They proceeded efficiently to the second location, an abandoned construction site where development had stalled months earlier. Concrete foundations stood incomplete, surrounded by chain-link fencing posted with warning signs. Kimberly parked nearby, producing bolt cutters from her trunk with practiced ease. Breaking and entering, Naruto questioned, eyebrow raised. Ranger business, she corrected, making quick work of the padlock securing the gate. We have certain allowances for planetary security situations. Convenient, Naruto observed with a hint of a smile. In Konoha, we'd just jump the fence. Be my guest if you prefer, Kimberly challenged, pushing the gate open with a metallic creak. Naruto responded by channeling chakra to his feet and walking vertically up the fence post, casually flipping over to land beside her on the other side. The unnecessary acrobatics carried a touch of showmanship that drew an involuntary smile from Kimberly before she suppressed it. Impressive, she acknowledged dryly. But attention-grabbing in a world without chakra users. No witnesses here, Naruto pointed out, surveying the deserted construction site. Where's the breach located? Kimberly consulted her scanner, moving purposefully between concrete pillars. Central foundation area, stronger readings than the park site. They navigated carefully through construction materials toward the center of the foundation. Metal rebar protruded from unfinished concrete like skeletal fingers reaching skyward. As they approached the central area, the air developed a subtle distortion, reality itself seeming to waver like heat mirages on summer pavement. This one's further developed, Naruto observed, extending his senses toward the anomaly. The dimensional barrier is significantly thinner. Scanner confirms accelerated deterioration compared to projections, Kimberly reported, concern evident in her tone. This breach could become fully active within 24 hours rather than 48. Naruto activated Sage Mode again, perception extending beyond conventional limitations. Through enhanced awareness, he perceived the breach as a wound in reality, edges fraying as unseen forces widened the gap between dimensions. Something's different here, he noted, concentration evident in his furrowed brow. There's resistance. Like the dimensional boundary is fighting back against intrusion. Natural protection mechanisms, Kimberly suggested, recording energy fluctuations. No, more deliberate, Naruto clarified. Sage enhanced perception revealing subtle details. Someone from your side has attempted to reinforce the boundary. Recently. That shouldn't be possible without Zordon-level technology, Kimberly objected. Scanning surrounding areas with increased attention. Unless someone else in your world understands dimensional mechanics, Naruto completed, deactivating Sage Mode as he processed implications. Someone working against whoever's creating these breaches. Or attempting to control them for different purposes, Kimberly countered pragmatically. We can assume altruistic motives without evidence. Naruto nodded acknowledgement of her caution. Either way, we're dealing with multiple actors across dimensions. Considerably more complicated than simple invasion. We should inform the others, Kimberly decided, raising her communicator. Alpha, do you read me? Static answered initially, followed by fragmented transmission. Kimberly. Interference, communications degraded. Breach energy. The dimensional distortion is affecting transmissions, Naruto observed, noticing increased wavering in the air surrounding them. We should move back. Before either could retreat, The distortion intensified dramatically. Reality itself seemed to bend inward, forming a swirling vortex that expanded from microscopic to human-sized in seconds. Wind howled as atmospheric pressure equalized between dimensions, creating a localized storm centered on the breach. "It's opening," Kimberly shouted over the maelstrom, assuming defensive stance. "Something's coming through." Naruto positioned himself protectively between Kimberly and the breach, chakra flowing in preparation for combat. "Stay behind me." "Not a chance," she countered, moving to flank position instead. "It's morphin' time." Pink Ranger power. Transformation energy enveloped Kimberly, materializing her pink armor with practiced efficiency. As the light faded, the Pink Ranger stood ready, power bow manifesting in her grasp. Naruto followed suit, dragon coin responding to his summons. Crimson Dragon power. The vortex stabilized momentarily before disgorging a single figure, humanoid but clearly not human. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, its body appeared constructed from equal parts organic tissue and mechanical components. Armor plates of obsidian black covered vital areas while exposed musculature glowed with unnatural blue luminescence. Its face remained hidden behind an angular mask featuring a single vertical slit that emanated crimson light. "Rangers," the entity acknowledged, voice resonating with metallic undertones. "Your presence was calculated as probable. The dragon's emergence alters timelines significantly." "Who are you?" Kimberly demanded, bow trained on the intruder. "What do you want with our dimension?" "Designation irrelevant," the entity responded dispassionately. "Function: observation and assessment. Primary target acquired." Its attention shifted fully to Naruto. "Dragon Ranger. Your manifestation was predicted but not within current temporal parameters. Acceleration suggests external interference." "You're not making sense," Naruto stated firmly. Dragon staff materializing in his grasp. "Explain why you're creating dimensional breaches." Clarification: this unit does not create breaches. This unit merely utilizes existing fractures. The entity's head tilted slightly, sensory slit examining them with clinical detachment. "Your understanding is incomplete. The convergence approaches regardless of individual actions." "Convergence?" Kimberly questioned, maintaining combat readiness despite conversational tone. "The inevitable collision of dimensions separated at creation," the entity explained with mechanical precision. "This world, the shinobi world, others beyond counting, all returning to singular state." Naruto's posture shifted subtly as realization dawned. "You're talking about dimensional collapse. Worlds merging destructively." "Affirmative. Process initiated centuries ago. Acceleration recent. Dragon emergence symptomatic, not causal." Before further interrogation could occur, the entity moved with startling speed. Mechanical components blurring as it launched toward Naruto. The Dragon Ranger barely raised his staff in time to block a strike that sent him sliding backward several meters despite braced stance. "Naruto." Kimberly reacted instantly, loosing several arrows that struck the entity's armored back with explosive impact. The creature appeared unfazed, attention remaining fixed on Naruto. "Assessment requires combat evaluation," it stated, continuing its advance. "Dragon potential must be measured." Naruto recovered quickly, staff spinning defensively as he countered the entity's next assault. Despite its mechanical appearance, the creature moved with fluid grace that suggested advanced combat programming or experience. Its attacks targeted specific points with precision that would have disabled ordinary opponents. "Whatever you're assessing, you won't like the results," Naruto warned, chakra flowing into his weapon. The dragon staff responded, edges glow. Wing with combined ranger power and wind nature chakra. The entity paused momentarily, sensors registering the energy buildup. "Interesting. Harmonization between dimensional energy systems exceeds projections. Adaptation occurring at accelerated rate." "Less talking, more explaining," Kimberly demanded, executing a flanking maneuver that positioned her behind the intruder. Her power bow reconfigured into dual energy blades as she engaged in close combat, striking at exposed connections between armor plates. The entity responded with disturbing efficiency, mechanical limbs demonstrating imp.os cybal flexibility as it engaged both rangers simultaneously. Explanation continues through demonstration. "Observe." It raised one arm toward the dimensional breach, which pulsed in response. The vortex expanded further, edges stabilizing as energy patterns shifted from chaotic to structured configuration. Through the opening, glimpses of another world became visible, forests and mountains recognizable to Naruto as Fire Country's landscape. That's near Konoha, he identified, momentarily distracted. The lapse cost him as the entity landed a solid strike to his chest plate, sending him crashing into concrete pillars. Dimensional barriers weaken proportionally to proximity. The entity continued its methodical explanation even while combating Kimberly's increasingly aggressive assault. Your transition created resonance patterns. Others will follow. Eventually, barriers fail completely. Kimberly executed a perfect somersault over the creature's head, blades slicing across sensors positioned at its neck juncture. Sparks erupted from damaged components, disrupting the entity's movement patterns momentarily. If dimensional collapse is inevitable, she questioned, maintaining pressure, why fight us? Why not just wait? Assessment determines intervention potential, the entity replied, systems already self-repairing. Some timelines indicate successful prevention. Dragon Ranger represents statistical anomaly. Probability calculations require updated variables. Naruto rejoined the battle, dragon staff reconfigured into its bladed form. So you're saying we might actually stop this convergence thing? Probability 0.0034%, the entity confirmed with mechanical precision. Insufficient for operational consideration, yet non-zero. Anomalous. I've overcome worse odds, Naruto countered, channeling both chakra and ranger energy into concentrated form. The dragon staff began glowing with intensifying brilliance, responding to his intention. Recognizing imminent threat, the entity disengaged from Kimberly with unexpected speed, systems recalibrating. Assessment complete for current parameters. Further data collection required under revised conditions. Before either ranger could prevent it, the creature leapt backward into the dimensional breach. The vortex fluctuated violently before beginning to contract. It's destabilizing, Kimberly warned, scanners indicating critical energy fluctuations. The breach is collapsing. We need information from the other side, Naruto decided instantly. I'm going through. Absolutely not, Kimberly objected, grabbing his arm. We have no idea if you could return. It's my world on the other side, Naruto countered, determination evident despite his helmet concealing his expression. My people could be in danger. I have to warn them. And leave Earth defenseless against whatever's coming. Kimberly challenged. The prophecy chose you for here, now. Running back home abandons that responsibility. The breach continued contracting, energy patterns destabilizing toward complete collapse. Naruto stood frozen in momentary indecision, torn between worlds and duties. In that critical moment, another figure emerged from the dimensional tear, moving with desperate speed that suggested pursuit. Tumbling through the opening seconds before it collapsed entirely came a familiar pink-haired Kunoichi. Her expression transforming from determination to shock as she registered her surroundings. Naruto! Sakura Haruno exclaimed, green eyes widening as she took in his armored form and the similarly outfitted woman beside him. What the hell is going on? And what are you wearing? The dimensional breach sealed completely behind her with a thunderous implosion that knocked all three off their feet. Dust and debris settled over the construction site as reality stabilized, dimensional barriers reasserting normal physical laws. Naruto's transformation dissolved as he climbed to his feet, expression reflecting complex emotions as he approached his teammate. Sakura-chan, how did you follow us? Follow you? She questioned incredulously, rising with natural grace despite obvious disorientation. I was tracking that thing that attacked the village. It opened some kind of portal, and I pursued before it could escape. Her attention shifted to Kimberly, whose transformation had also receded. Who's she? Where are we? And what was that armor you were wearing? That's complicated, Naruto acknowledged, running fingers through dust-covered blonde hair. Short version. Different dimension. Local defenders called Power Rangers, dimensional barriers breaking down between our worlds, and apparently I'm part of an ancient prophecy here. Sakura stared at him for a long moment, before sighing with familiar exasperation. Only you, Naruto. Only you could investigate a simple dimensional disturbance and somehow become another world's prophesied hero. To be fair, Kimberly interjected, approaching cautiously. We didn't ask for him either. The coin chose him, not us. Sakura's attention focused fully on the other woman, assessing with Medic's precision and Kunoichi's wariness. And you are Kimberly Hart, Pink Ranger, and currently wondering how many more shinobi are going to drop unannounced into my dimension. Sakura Haruno, medical ninja and Naruto's teammate. Her expression shifted to professional concern. If dimensional barriers are weakening as you say, we have significant problems. That creature has attacked 3 villages in the past week, Alwa. YS focused on locations with unusual chakra concentrations. It appears to be monitoring dimensional weak points, Naruto theorized, connecting information. Measuring barrier degradation while seeking something specific. The Dragon Ranger, Kimberly suggested grimly. You heard it. Your emergence was expected but not on schedule. Something's accelerating events. Or someone, Sakura added, retrieving a scroll from her equipment pouch. I recovered this from one of its previous targets. The symbols match nothing in Konoha's archives, but they're definitely Fuinjutsu-based. She unrolled the scroll, revealing patterns that immediately matched the dimensional breach design Naruto had sketched earlier. Additional notations surrounded the central pattern, combining mathematical precision with mystical symbolism. This confirms it, Kimberly stated, photographing the scroll with her device. Someone's deliberately manipulating these breaches from both sides. But why? Naruto questioned, examining the scroll closely. What purpose does dimensional collision serve? Perhaps, Sakura suggested thoughtfully, the better question is, who benefits from worlds colliding? Their contemplation was interrupted by Kimberly's communicator finally breaking through interference. Rangers, respond immediately. Multiple breach sites are activating simultaneously. Energy readings are spiking across the city. We need to get back, Kimberly urged, already moving toward the exit. Sakura, was it? You're coming with us. We need everything you know about that creature and these attacks. Agreed. The medical ninja nodded, following without hesitation. If our worlds are connected in this, we need to combine information. As they rushed toward Kimberly's vehicle, Naruto's expression reflected growing determination. 2 worlds now faced common threat, and his position between them, once seeming random accident, appeared increasingly deliberate. The dragon coin pulsed warmly in his grasp, responding to his resolve as connections formed between previously separate pieces of understanding. Whatever convergence approached, whatever forces manipulated dimensional boundaries, he now stood uniquely positioned to oppose them, not as outsider in foreign dimension, but as bridge between worlds that should never have been separated. The command center erupted with control chaos as rangers and shinobi converged from different sectors of Angel Grove. Alarm systems registered escalating energy readings at all breach sites, while the viewing globe displayed real-time footage of dimensional distortions becoming visible to civilian populations. Panic had begun spreading through the city as reality itself seemed to waver in multiple locations. The breaches are expanding exponentially, Billy reported, fingers flying across console controls. Dimensional barrier integrity dropping below 60% at all identified locations. We're running out of time, Jason observed grimly, studying tactical displays. If these continue growing at current rates, we'll have full-scale portals within hours, not days. Trini and Hinata had arrived minutes earlier, their investigatee on having yielded similar findings to Naruto and Kimberly's. The Hyuga heiress had immediately embraced Sakura with relieved recognition before both turned attention to the crisis at hand. The patterns are identical at every site, Trini confirmed, comparing data from all locations. These aren't random fractures, they're following specific geometric positioning across Angel Grove. Creating a larger meta-pattern, Hinata added. Byakugan active as she studied the city map. The 8 locations form points of an octagonal seal when connected. Sakura approached the map, medical training allowing quick analysis of the pattern. It's a modified containment seal, similar to techniques used for capturing tailed beasts, but vastly larger in scale and designed for something different. Most concerning, Zordon's voice resonated through the chamber. If Angel Grove itself is being prepared as focal point for interdimensional containment, the destructive potential is incalculable. The entity we encountered mentioned convergence, Kimberly reported, uploading combat recordings. It described inevitable collision of dimensions returning to singular state. That's cosmologically significant, Billy observed, adjusting glasses as he processed implications. Many theoretical physicists believe all dimensions originated from singular reality before separating during universal expansion. So something's trying to reverse that separation. Zack questioned incredulously. Fold dimensions back together like cosmic origami. More like cosmic train wreck, Naruto corrected grimly. The entity described violent collision, not gentle reunion. Worlds crashing together destructively. But who would want that? Jason demanded, frustration evident in his clenched fists. What sizable benefit comes from dimensional apocalypse? Silence fell momentarily as the question hung unanswered. Alpha continued monitoring breach expansion while Rangers and Shinobi considered horrific possibilities. Perhaps, Hinata suggested quietly, drawing attention with her gentle voice, someone who exists beyond dimensional constraints. An entity that transcends the boundaries separating our worlds. Or someone imprisoned between dimensions, Sakura added, medical mind considering alternatives. Seeking release through destruction of the barriers containing them. Both possibilities have historical precedent. Zordon acknowledged solemnly. The dark dimensions have produced entities seeking dominion across reality itself. Some ancient enough to predate current dimensional boundaries. Then we need to reinforce those boundaries, Jason decided, natural leadership asserting direction. Billy, can we generate counter frequencies to stabilize the breaches? Theoretically possible, the Blue Ranger confirmed. Already calculating parameters. But we'd need enormous power directed precisely at each location simultaneously. The Dragon Coin, Naruto realized suddenly, producing the artifact from his pocket. It connects to all power coins. If it truly unifies the power sources as prophesied, you could channel enough energy to temporarily stabilize the breaches, Trini completed. Scientific mind grasping implications immediately. Using the Ranger's combined power focused through your unique connection. It's dangerously theoretical, Billy cautioned, though. Excitement at the possibility colored his tone. No Ranger has ever attempted to channel multiple coin energies simultaneously. Is the prophecy not clear? Zordon questioned rhetorically. The dragon shall command all coins as one. Perhaps this crisis is precisely why the Dragon Ranger was foretold. Naruto studied the coin in his palm, feeling its resonance with his chakra network, the harmonization of energies that had felt so natural from first contact. I'm willing to try, but I'll need help understanding exactly what to do. We'll guide you through it, Kimberly stated with unexpected conviction. Her earlier skepticism apparently set aside in face of crisis. Rangers train for impossible scenarios. And shinobi specialize in chakra manipulation, Sakura added, stepping forward. Between our knowledge systems, we can develop a functional approach. First, we need defensive measures for the city, Jason insisted, practical concerns taking priority. Civilians are panicking as dimensional effects become visible. Quote, Angel Grove emergency protocols are activating, Zack reported, monitoring communication channels. Evacuation orders for areas surrounding breach sites. Insufficient, Trini assessed grimly. The entity could return with reinforcements through any breach at any time. We need combat-ready teams at each location. We're spread too thin, Kimberly objected. 8 locations, 6 Rangers even counting Naruto. 7 with me, Hinata corrected quietly but firmly. My Byakugan can monitor dimensional fluctuations directly. I can provide early warning of incursions. And I can establish medical support, Sakura offered. Plus combat capability if needed. I'm not as gentle as Hinata in battle. Jason nodded decisively. We establish 3 airy teams. Billy and Alpha focus on technical solution here at Command Center. Naruto works with Kimberly and Trini on Dragon Coin energy channeling. The rest of us deploy to priority breach sites with Ranger communicators for immediate response. I recommend helmets for civilian areas, Billy added, producing modified equipment. These will allow our shinobi allies to communicate with us while concealing their identities from public observation. Good thinking, Jason approved. Last thing we need is panic about mysterious foreigners during dimensional crisis. Rangers, shinobi, Zordon addressed the assembled group. The combined threat to both your dimensions cannot be overstated. Your unique alliance may represent the only hope for either world's survival. No pressure, Zack quipped, though tension underlay his attempt at humor. Just saving multiple universes before dinner. We've faced worse odds, Naruto stated with quiet confidence, azure eyes meeting each person's gaze in turn. Both Rangers and Shinobi have overcome supposedly impossible threats before. Together, our capabilities multiply rather than simply combine. Well said, Kimberly acknowledged, surprising everyone with her support. Prophecy or not, we have complementary strengths. Let's use them. Teams deploy in 5 minutes, Jason ordered. Gather necessary equipment and prepare for extended operation. Communication discipline is essential. Regular status reports regardless of findings. As the groups separated to prepare, Kimberly approached Naruto with unexpected directness. That entity specifically targeted you, she observed quietly. Your existence as Dragon Ranger represents something significant to whatever's orchestrating this. Meaning I have target on my back, Naruto acknowledged without fear. Not the first time, won't be the last. It means, Kimberly corrected, that you need someone watching your back who isn't easily impressed by prophecies or power coins. A hint of her earlier skepticism returned, though now tempered with something resembling respect. Someone who'll question your impulses when necessary. You volunteering? Naruto asked, eyebrow raised slightly. Someone has to keep you from charging headfirst into interdimensional catastrophes, she replied with the ghost of a smile. Might as well be the person already assigned to your training. Before Naruto could respond, alarms blared throughout the command center. The viewing globe activated automatically, displaying massive energy surges at multiple breach sites simultaneously. Energy containment failing, Billy shouted, rushing to primary controls, all breaches expanding beyond predicted parameters. The image shifted to downtown Angel Grove, where the largest breach had expanded to building-sized proportions. The swirling vortex of interdimensional energy now dominated the city center, its edges sparking with violent discharge that shattered windows and overloaded electrical systems. It's happening too fast, Trini realized, checking chronometers. Acceleration exceeds all projections by factors of thousands. Through the maelstrom emerged the mechanical entity they'd encountered earlier, now accompanied by dozens of similar but less advanced constructs. They moved with perfect coordination, securing perimeter positions around the dimensional opening. Diamond, Sional stabilization protocols initiated, the primary entity announced, voice somehow transmitting through Ranger's systems. Convergence parameters adjusting to compensate for dragon interference. They're forcing the breaches open manually, Billy translated incredulously. Using technology to override natural dimensional resistance. We move now, Jason commanded. Full team response to primary breach. Secondary sites will have to wait. It's morphin time, Zordon declared, energy pulsing through his tube with unusual urgency. The Rangers activated their morphers simultaneously, TRA-NS formation sequences overlapping in harmonious light display. As power enveloped them, Naruto felt the dragon coin respond automatically, resonating with the other artifacts across previously impenetrable barriers. Crimson Dragon Power, he called, chakra network expanding to accommodate the transformation energy. Dimensional awareness expanded with his transformation, senses perceiving beyond normal limitations as the Dragon Ranger armor materialized. Unlike previous manifestations, this transformation incorporated elements from all Ranger colors, subtle patterns of red, blue, pink, yellow, and black interwoven with predominant crimson and gold. The armor's evolving, Billy observed despite crisis circumstances, adapting to immediate requirement for multi-coin connectivity. Alpha, prepare for teleportation. Jason ordered, fully morphed as Red Ranger. Direct insertion to primary breach site. What about us? Sakura questioned, medic bag already secured across her shoulders. Communicators will transport you alongside your assigned ranger, Billy explained, providing devices to both Kunoichi. The helmets provide basic protection and communication capabilities. As teleportation energy engulfed the assembled team, Naruto found himself positioned between Kimberly and Hinata, their presences providing balanced counterpoint to his center position. The dragon coin pulsed against his chest, somehow anticipating the confrontation ahead while connecting to all Rangers simultaneously. Reality dissolved into streams of light, carrying them toward what increasingly appeared to be not random dimensional accident, but orchestrated collision between worlds that should have remained forever separate. Whatever intelligence guided this convergence, whatever purpose motivated cosmic-scale destruction. The assembled defenders represented unplanned variable in otherwise calculated process. Sometimes, Naruto reflected as teleportation light carried them into battle. The greatest advantage came from being the outcome no one predicted. The anomaly that disrupted perfect plans through simple, stubborn refusal to follow established patterns. In that moment, prophecy or not, his presence in this world felt less coincidence than cosmic course correction, universe itself deploying unexpected countermeasure against forces that would unmake reality itself. Chapter 2 End Chapter 3, Shadows Between Worlds. Darkness coalesced in the abandoned warehouse district, gathering like sentient oil between forgotten shipping containers and rusted machinery. The air itself seemed to compress, molecules straining against an intrusion that defied physical laws. A vertical tear formed, not the swirling vortex of previous dimensional breaches but a precise laceration in reality's fabric. Edges cauterized by power that hummed with malevolent purpose. Through this perfect wound stepped a figure whose very presence distorted surrounding energy patterns. Tall and imposing, his RMOR combined elements of the green and white rangers but corrupted into something darker, a twisted reflection of what might have been. The dragon shield adorning his chest had been modified with serrated edges that gleamed with barely contained power. His helmet featured a shattered visor revealing one human eye burning with cold calculation. Lord Draken had arrived in Angel Grove. He surveyed his surroundings with practiced efficiency, cataloging tactical information while a gauntleted hand caressed the hilt of a weapon that resembled the dragon dagger but longer, crueler in its design. The air around him rippled with disruptive energy that caused nearby electronics to malfunction and organic matter to wither. Pathetic, he murmured, voice carrying echoes of Tommy Oliver yet fundamentally altered. This reality's Angel Grove remains untouched by true power. A shadow detached from nearby darkness, the mechanical entity that had previously encountered Naruto and Kimberly. It approached with precise movements. Vertical optical slit glowing crimson in acknowledgement. Surveillance complete as instructed, Lord Draken, it reported. The Dragon Ranger has manifested ahead of calculated probability. Show me, Draken commanded, extending his hand. The entity's chest plate reconfigured, projecting three-dimensional footage of Naruto's transformation and subsequent battle. Draken studied the images with intense focus, his visible eye narrowing as the Crimson Dragon Ranger demonstrated abilities that combined shinobi techniques with ranger powers. Fascinating, he observed, fingers tracing the projection of Naruto's armored form. A dimensional anomaly wielding the Crimson Dragon power. The timeline diverges further with each manifestation. The subject's energy, Y signature indicates compatibility with multiple dimensional frequencies, the entity reported. Preliminary analysis suggests capacity for cross-dimensional resonance exceeding established parameters. Of course it does, Draken replied with bitter amusement. The multiverse abhors my dominion. It continuously spawns champions with theoretical potential to oppose me. His tone hardened. Yet, potential remains merely that until fully realized. He closed his fist through the projection, dispersing the image. Continue monitoring the dimensional convergence. Accelerate the breach expansion as planned. I will personally evaluate this. Crimson Dragon. The shinobi poses unknown variables, the entity cautioned. His energy manipulation capabilities demonstrate unexpected adaptability. All rangers are adaptable, Draken dismissed coldly. I've extinguished thousands across countless realities. This one may wield unfamiliar energy, but he remains bound by the fundamental limitations of his humanity. A cruel smile curved his lips. A limitation I've long transcended. His gaze swept toward Angel Grove's center, where the Power Rangers would inevitably gather to oppose the dimensional incursions. Proceed with the established protocol. I will observe from the shadows for now. The entity acknowledged with mechanical precision before disappearing into darkness. Alone, Draken extracted a small device from his armor, a crystalline pyramid that pulsed with energy patterns matching the dimensional breaches spreading across Angel Grove. Soon, he promised the empty air, all worlds will know the meaning of convergence. All dimensions will kneel before true power. The crystal flared briefly, projecting an ephemeral image of an ancient seal, identical to the pattern. Forming across Angel Grove through the positioned breaches. Within its geometric precision lurked symbols of binding, containment, and transformation, a cosmic scale trapped centuries in design. Draken's laughter echoed through the abandoned warehouse, a sound devoid of joy but rich with anticipation. The pieces had begun moving toward inevitable confrontation, and he alone understood the true stack of the game unfolding across realities. You want me to what? Naruto questioned, azure eyes widening as he processed Zordon's instructions. The command center hummed with elevated activity, as Rangers prepared for reconnaissance missions to the expanding dimensional breaches. After the initial confrontation at the primary site, the mechanical entities had withdrawn unexpectedly, breaches stabilizing at dangerous but not immediately catastrophic levels. This temporary reprieve provided opportunity for strategic assessment rather than reactive defense. The connection between your KRA network and the morphing grid presents unique opportunities, Zordon explained patiently. By establishing conscious links with each Ranger's power coin, you may access critical insights regarding the dimensional convergence. It's theoretically sound, Billy added, adjusting monitoring equipment around the meditation platform where Naruto sat cross-legged. Your dragon coin demonstrates harmonic resonance with all other coins. Chakra meditation could potentially amplify that connection. Naruto glanced toward Hinata and Sakura, who observed nearby. This isn't exactly like sage meditation or Jinchuriki communion. I'm connecting to external power sources rather than internal energy. The principle remains similar, Hinata observed softly. Your chakra already demonstrates unusual adaptability. This represents extension rather than fundamental change in approach. And we'll monitor your vitals throughout, Trini assured him, calibrating sensors. At first sign of physiological stress, we terminate the connection. Kimberly observed from slightly further distance, arms crossed in her characteristic posture of cautious assessment. Just remember, Ranger powers weren't designed for this kind of manipulation. There's zero precedent for what we're attempting. Story of my life, Naruto replied with a brief smile, settling more comfortably into meditative position. MPT-ing the unprecedented is practically my specialty. That's what concerns me, Kimberly muttered, though without her earlier antagonism. The past 48 hours had demonstrated Naruto's capabilities sufficiently that her skepticism had evolved into something closer to professional caution. We'll proceed with graduated exposure, Jason decided, placing his power coin on a designated platform beside Naruto. The other Rangers followed suit, each coin positioned at precise intervals around the meditation circle. One connection at a time, beginning with red. Focus your awareness on the unique energy signature of each coin, Zordon instructed. The dragon coin will naturally seek resonance. Guide that connection rather than forcing it. Naruto nodded, centering his breathing as he would for sage meditation. The dragon coin rested in his palm, its surface warm against his skin as energy pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. He closed his eyes, extending chakra awareness outward while maintaining internal balance. The power coins radiated distinct energy signatures, each unique yet sharing fundamental harmonic patterns. Naruto focused first on Jason's red coin, its energy bold and direct, reminiscent of fire chakra in its passionate intensity. The dragon coin responded immediately, crimson light extending tendrils toward its counterpart. Connection establishing with red, Billy reported. Monitoring energy fluctuations, harmonic resonance approaching synchronization. Naruto felt the connection snap into place, not invasion or absorption but partnership between complementary energies. Images flashed through his consciousness. Prehistoric creatures of immense power, leadership burdens carried across generations, courage manifesting as protective determination rather than absence of fear. I can see it, he murmured, voice distant with concentration. The Tyrannosaurus power, it's about decisive action and protective authority. Remarkable, Trini observed, checking readings. He's accessing archetypal information embedded within the coin's quantum structure. Try connecting to blue next, Billy suggested, scientific curiosity momentarily overriding caution. Naruto shifted focus, maintaining the red connection while extending awareness toward Billy's coin. This energy felt different, methodical and precise, flowing in complex patterns that bled water chakra's adaptive intelligence. The dragon coin extended new tendrils, these tinged with blue luminescence. Triceratops power, Naruto identified as connection formed. Analytical strength, protection through knowledge and innovation. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he maintained dual connections. The effort of harmonizing disparate energy patterns taxed his concentration, yet the dragon coin seemed to ease the burden, serving as translation matrix between his chakra and the morphing grid's distinct frequency. Physiological stress increasing but within acceptable parameters, Trini reported. Monitoring vital signs. Brain activity shows unusual synchronization between typically separate cognitive regions. Add yellow, Jason instructed, watching closely for signs of distress. The third connection proved more challenging. Yellow energy moved differently, steady yet dynamic, resembling Earth Chakra's unyielding resilience combined with lightning's decisive strikes. Naruto's breathing deepened as he worked to incorporate this new pattern without disrupting existing connections. Saber-toothed tiger, he identified, voice strained but stable. Courage through perseverance, finding strength in facing fears directly. Kimberly moved closer, her professional concern evident as she observed Naruto's increasing tension. His skin temperature's rising, she noted. We should consider. I can handle it, Naruto interrupted, determination evident despite closed eyes. Black next. Before anyone could object, his awareness expanded toward Zack's power coin. Blah. CK energy moved unlike the others, creative and unpredictable, flowing through unexpected pathways that defied conventional patterns. It resembled wind chakra's freedom combined with something entirely unique to this world's energy system. Mastodon, Naruto identified, body now trembling slightly with effort. Creativity through adaptability, finding unconventional solutions through perspective shifts. 4 simultaneous connections stretched his concentration to unprecedented limits. The dragon coin glowed with increasing intensity, surface inscriptions shifting to incorporate elements from each connected power. Naruto's breathing became labored, each exhalation carrying visible traces of colorful energy. That's enough, Kimberly decided, stepping forward. His system is approaching redline. One more, Naruto countered, azure eyes opening briefly to meet her concerned gaze. The circle needs completion. Before she could protest further, his awareness extended toward her pink power coin. This final energy signature flowed differently from all others, precise yet flexible, disciplined without rigidity, combining aspects of all elements into harmonious balance. The resembla, NCE to medical chakra's healing precision struck Naruto immediately. Pterodactyl, he whispered as connection formed. Grace under pressure, precision that appears effortless yet requires perfect control. With all 5 connections established, something unexpected occurred. Rather than maintaining separate links, the energies began harmonizing through the dragon coin's influence, disparate frequencies finding common resonance that amplified rather than competing. Naruto's expression shifted from strained concentration to wonder as information flowed freely between all connected powers. The coins, he realized, voice carrying reverent understanding, they're fragments of something larger. Separated aspects of unified power. Most perceptive, Zordon acknowledged, energy form pulsing with increased luminosity. The power coins were indeed created from single source, fragments of the Zeo crystal consciousness imbued with distinct qualities. But they're not just divided, Naruto continued. Understanding deepening as connections strengthened. They're specialized, like chakra natures developing different expressions of fundamental energy. The combined energies formed a swirling matrix around Naruto, colors blending into white light that pulsed with increasing intensity. His body began levitating slightly above the platform, chakra network visible through his skin as luminous pathways that matched the coins' energy patterns. This is exceeding all projected parameters, Billy observed, adjusting sensors to accommodate unprecedented readings. The harmonic convergence is creating some kind of information transfer. What do you perceive, Dragon Ranger? Zordon questioned, sensing critical revelation approaching. The dimensions, Naruto answered, voice nodding with multiple harmonic overtones. They weren't always separate. Your morphing grid and our chakra system, they're divergent expressions of identical cosmic energy. Images manifested in the viewing globe, fractured glimpses of ancient history predating both worlds' recorded time. A singular reality splitting into multiple dimensions, cosmic energy adapting different expressions in each separated world. The breaches aren't creating something new, Naruto continued, understanding flowing through him like prophecy. They're attempting to restore original convergence, but forcibly, destructively. The natural barriers exist for reason. Why would anyone want to force dimensional recombination? Jason questioned, watching the images with troubled focus. Power. Naruto answered simply. Connection enhanced perception revealing underlying motivations. Dimensional separation diluted original cosmic energy. Reunification would concentrate that power, make it accessible to those positioned to harness the convergence. That mechanical entity, Kimberly realized. It's working for someone who wants to control this convergence. Not just control, Naruto corrected, expression darkening as deeper understanding formed. Absorb. Become the vessel for reunited cosmic power. The energy matrix surrounding him fluctuated suddenly, harmonic patterns disrupted by external interference. Naruto's body tensed as connection-enhanced awareness detected approaching danger. Something's coming, he warned, eyes snapping open to reveal irises glowing with combined power of all connected coins. Something familiar yet wrong, distorted. Alarms blared throughout the command center as sensors detected massive energy surge at primary breach location. The viewing globe shifted focus automatically, displaying dimensional tear expanding beyond previous parameters. Unlike earlier breaches, this expansion demonstrated precise control, edges stabilizing into defined portal rather than chaotic rupture. Through this gateway stepped a figure that caused Naruto's blood to freeze despite the energy infusing his system. Tall and imposing, dressed in traditional shinobi battle armor modified with technological components unfamiliar to either world. Long black hair framed a face bearing unmistakable features despite partial reconstruction with mechanical elements. Madara Uchiha, Naruto whispered. Connections wavering as shock disrupted his concentration. Impossible. Who is this entity? Zordon questioned with unusual urgency. One of the most dangerous shinobi in our world's history, Sakura explained. Medical training allowing clinical detachment despite evident tension. But he died during the Fourth Shinobi War. We witnessed his passing. That's not exactly Madara, Hinata observed. Byakugan activating to examine the figure more thoroughly. His chakra signature is fragmented, incomplete, like an echo of the original preserved through artificial means. Most concerning, Zordon acknowledged. Such preservation of consciousness beyond natural lifespan suggests advanced interdimensional technology beyond even Ranger knowledge. The figure, Madara's echo, surveyed Angel Grove with evident disdain, Rinnegan eyes pulsing with power that distorted surrounding reality. When he spoke, his voice carried through the command center's systems despite distance separating them. So this is the dimension that has captured Uzumaki's attention, he observed, tone combining arrogance with scientific curiosity. Primitive technology compensating for deficient natural energy. How disappointing. Civilians fled in terror as Madara's echo extended his hand, gravitational forces responding to his command. Vehicles, debris, even portions of nearby buildings floating upward before being compressed into dense sphere of matter. Rangers, Jason decided immediately, we need to respond. This level of power in populated area. Wait, Naruto interrupted, still maintaining connection with all coins. Something's not right. His manifestation, it's too controlled. Too precise. Azure eyes narrowed in sudden realization. It's a distraction. From what? Kimberly questioned. The answer came as secondary alarms activated, proximity alerts indicating breach within command center security perimeter. The viewing globe split screen, revealing Mechanica. Entities approaching from multiple vectors, moving with coordinated precision toward previously undetected vulnerabilities. It's a coordinated attack, Jason realized. The Madara manifestation drive awes our attention while infiltration team targets command center directly. Clever, Naruto acknowledged grimly. Classic shinobi misdirection applied to interdimensional warfare. We need to split forces, Kimberly determined. Tactical assessment immediate. Some rangers address the Madara threat while others defend command center. I'll take Madara, Naruto stated, connection with Power Co.'s providing expanded awareness of tactical options. My experience with his techniques gives advantage others lack. Not alone, Kimberly countered firmly. That's exactly what they want, isolating you from ranger support. She's right, Jason confirmed. Kimberly, you and Naruto engage the Madara entity. Trini, Zack, secure the command center perimeter. Billy remains here with Zordon coordinating defense. I'll take our shinobi allies to intercept any secondary threats. Logical distribution of resources, Billy approved, already activating internal security protocols. The Dragon Coin C. Connection has provided Naruto tactical insight into all our capabilities. He and Kimberly should demonstrate highest effectiveness as paired unit. Naruto nodded agreement, carefully dissolving energy. Y connections while retaining the knowledge they'd provided. The power coins returned to their respective rangers as he stood from the meditation platform, Dragon Coin pulsing with residual energy from the unified connection. Be careful, Hinata advised softly as rangers prepared for deployment. Madara's techniques were devastating even in life. This echo may retain much of his capability without human limitations. We've got this, Naruto assured her with confidence that wasn't merely bravado. The coin connections had revealed tactical options previously unconsidered, ways of combining Shinobi techniques with ranger powers that multiplied effectiveness exponentially. It's morphin' time, Jason commanded, rangers activating their transformations simultaneously. Energy enveloped them in respective colors, materializing armor and helmets with practiced efficiency. Naruto's transformation differed subtly from previous manifestations. The Dragon Ranger armor now incorporated minor IGN elements from each ranger he'd connected with, unified through predominant crimson and gold coloration. The armor's evolving, Billy noted despite crisis circumstances. Adapting based on established connections. Teleporting to designated coordinates, Alpha announced, activating systems. May the power protect you all. Light enveloped them in respective color streams, transporting rangers to their assigned positions across Angel Grove. Naruto and Kimberly materialized near the downtown district where Madara's echo continued demonstrating power by systematically destroying infrastructure. Such limited understanding of true power, the Uchiha's fragment observed, compressing another building into dense sphere with casual gesture. This dimension's defenders rely on external RGY sources rather than developing internal potential. That's rich coming from someone who stole others' powers throughout his life, Naruto called out, dragon staff materializing in his grasp as he stepped forward. Kimberly flanked him precisely, power bow manifesting with arrow already knocked. Madara's echo turned slowly, Rinnegan eyes focusing on Naruto with immediate recognition. Uzumaki, your presence in this dimension was predicted, though not your acquisition of local power artifacts. You know about the Power Rangers? Kimberly questioned, maintaining combat readiness while gathering intelligence. Knowledge transcends dimensional boundaries when one understands fundamental cosmic structure, Madara replied dismissively. Your morphing grid represents merely another expression of chakra adapted to compensate for this world's deficient natural energy. Why are you here, Madara? Naruto demanded, Dragon Ranger helmet retracting to reveal his face, a deliberate display of confident confrontation. You died. I watched it happen. Death provides perspective unavailable to the living, the echo replied with unsettling smile. My consciousness transcended biological limitations, preserved through methods beyond your comprehension. This form represents merely convenient interface between dimensions. You're working with someone, Naruto deduced, connection-enhanced perception recognizing patterns. Someone from this dimension who shares your ambitions. Perceptive, Madara acknowledged with approving nod. Dimensional convergence requires cooperation across realities. Appropriate vessels positioned at nexus points throughout multiverse. Vessels for what exactly? Kimberly pressed, tactical training recognizing opportunity for intelligence gathering. Madara's echo regarded her with brief curiosity before returning attention to Naruto. Your companion asks questions beyond her comprehension capacity. Explain to her, Uzumaki, what happens when IC energy separated for millennia suddenly reunites. Understanding dawned in Naruto's expression. Dimensional convergence would release energy equivalent to universe's creation, concentrated at convergence points. Precisely, Madara confirmed, satisfaction evident in his tone. Power beyond mortal comprehension, accessible to those properly positioned and prepared. Power to reshape reality itself according to perfect vision. Your vision of perfection involves infinite illusion, Naruto countered, disgust evident. Trapping consciousness in dream worlds while reality deteriorates. A simplified interpretation of transcendent concept, Madara dismissed. The infinite Tsukuyomi represented merely prototype for true dimensional ascension. What approaches far exceeds those limited ambitions? Throughout this exchange, Kimberly had been subtly repositioning, tactical assessment identifying optimal firing angles. At precise moment when Madara's focus remained fixed on Naruto, she released 3 arrows simultaneously, each targeting different vital points with uncanny accuracy. Madara's echo didn't bother dodging. The arrows passed through his form as though encountering no resistance, continuing trajectory to impact buildings behind him. Physical attacks against interdimensional projection, he observed with mild amusement. Your companion requires education regarding dimensional physics, Uzumaki. She was testing your manifestation parameters, Naruto corrected, understanding Kimberly's tactical approach instantly. Confirming you're not fully present in this dimension. Kimberly nodded, helmet concealing impressed expression at Naruto's quick comprehension of her intent. He's projecting from another location, probably using the dimensional breach as transmission medium. Correct assessment, Madara acknowledged. My full manifestation awaits proper convergence conditions. Until then, this projection serves adequate purpose. Which is what exactly? Naruto questioned, dragon staff shifting configuration to match anticipated combat requirements. Besides property destruction and monologuing about power evaluation, Madara replied simply. Your adaptation to this dimension's energy system requires assessment. The dragon coin's selection of you introduces variables requiring recalculation. Without further warning, he attacked, not with assault but massive genjutsu pulse that distorted reality itself. The technique expanded outward, targeting not just Naruto and Kimberly but encompassing several city blocks. Naruto reacted instantly, channeling both chakra and ranger energy through his armor. Dragon shield, activate. Crimson energy expanded outward from his armor, creating protective barrier that intercepted the genjutsu wave. Within this shield, reality remained stable while outside buildings appeared to melt, gravity shifted orientation, and physical laws bent to Madara's will. Impressive adaptation, the Uchiha's echo acknowledged. Combining chakra defense with this world's technology, your integration progresses faster than anticipated. Kimberly, Naruto communicated through Ranger helmet systems, Road genjutsu countermeasures won't work against Rinnegan techniques. Stay within the shield radius. What's he doing to the city? She questioned, observing distortion effects expanding beyond their protected zone. Reality manipulation through visual projection, Naruto explained, maintaining shield through continuous energy channeling. Not true physical transformation but sensory override affecting perception and interaction. Can civilians be permanently harmed? Her practical concern focused on immediate threat assessment. Potentially, if exposed long-term. Mind-body connection means perceived damage can manifest physically through neurological pathways. Then we need to shut him down, Kimberly decided, bow reconfiguring to blade form. Can we penetrate the illusion to reach his projection? Naruto considered options, connection-enhanced tactical analysis providing several approaches. Yes. His technique requires maintaining visual connection with affected area. If we see disrupt his sight line or overload the projection medium. The breach itself, Kimberly realized. It's channeling his projection. Naruto nodded, impressed by her quick strategic assessment. Exactly. Destabilize the breach. Disrupt his projection. I can modify power arrows to target dimensional frequency, she offered, weapon shifting back to bow configuration. If you can maintain this shield and get me clear shot at the breach point. Done, Naruto confirmed, dragon staff reconfiguring to channel additional power into defensive barrier. On my mark, we move toward breach perimeter. Your arrows, my distraction. Their seamless strategic coordination would have impressed outside observers, particularly given their limited time working together. The dragon coin connection had provided Naruto insight into Ranger tactical approaches while Kimberly's natural adaptability quickly incorporated shinobi strategic elements. Your resistance proves educational, Madara observed as He maneuvered carefully through distorted reality. The Dragon Ranger's capabilities exceed standard parameters. Adaptation to accommodate. The air around them darkened as Madara escalated his technique. Multiple shadowy duplicates materialized throughout the distortion field, each identical to the original and wielding similar reality warping abilities. Limbo clones, Naruto identified grimly. Existing between dimensions. Nearly impossible to detect or counter without Rinnegan or Six Paths Chakra. Which I'm guessing you have? Kimberly questioned, noting his recognition of the technique. Something similar. Naruto confirmed, shifting defensive strategy to accommodate new threat. The Dragon Coin connection amplifies my natural sensing abilities. I can track them despite their dimensional displacement. The duplicates attacked simultaneously from multiple vectors, testing the Dragon Shield's defensive parameters. Each strike caused reality to fracture further around the impact points. Cracks spreading through air itself like breaking glass. Shield integrity at 60%, Naruto reported, channeling additional power to compensate. Need clear shot at breach within next 45 seconds. Kimberly's response demonstrated why she remained Elite Ranger despite years of service. Without verbal acknowledgement, she shifted position precisely as Naruto adjusted Eld configuration to create momentary offensive window. 3 modified arrows launched through narrow opening, each trailing pink energy signatures that disrupted dimensional frequencies in their path. The projectiles passed through Madara's duplicates without effect but continued toward their actual target, the dimensional breach sustaining his projection. Upon impact, the arrows detonated in spectacular energy cascade that temporarily destabilized the portal's structure. Effect on Madara's projection was immediate and dramatic. His form flickered like damaged recording, dimensional anchoring disrupted by precision strike. The reality distortion surrounding them wavered as its source struggled to maintain interdimensional connection. Impressive coordination, Madara acknowledged, projection stabilizing at reduced intensity. Your partnership demonstrates unexpected synergy between disparate power systems. That's just our warm-up, Naruto countered, offensive strategy already forming. Dragon Striker Mode. The Dragon Staff reconfigured into assault form, channeling combined chakra and morphing grid energy into concentrated offensive capability. Simultaneously, Naruto create D3 shadow clones that spread outward in coordinated pattern, each manifesting similar weapons adapted to complementary attack vectors. Cloning technique without hand seals, Madara observed with scientific interest despite tactical disadvantage. Your integration with Dragon Coin accelerates natural ability evolution. Less analyzing, more action, Kimberly advised, shifting to flanking position with perfect timing. Her bow transformed into dual energy blades as she engaged nearest shadow duplicate. What followed demonstrated combat coordination that belied their limited training together. Naruto and his clones systematically targeted each limbo duplicate while Kimberly maintained pressure on the breach access point, preventing Madara from restabilizing his projection. Their movements complemented each other instinctively, Naruto's unpredictable shinobi techniques creating openings that Kimberly exploited with gymnastic precision. Throughout engagement, Naruto's tactical awareness expanded beyond normal parameters. The residual connection with all power coins provided insight into optimal combined strategies, ways of integrating ranger abilities with shinobi techniques to multiplied effectiveness exponentially. When Kimberly executed perfect aerial maneuver to avoid dimensional distortion, Naruto's clone was already positioned to capitalize on the opening she created. Your connection grows stronger, Madara noted, projection fluctuating between stability and disruption. The Dragon Ranger manifestation accelerates beyond projected timelines. Convergence schedule requires adjustment. What convergence schedule? Kimberly demanded, blades slicing through dimensional distortion to temporarily disrupt another duplicate. What's your actual timeline? Rather than answering directly, Madara's expression shifted to one of clinical assessment. Interesting. The Pink Ranger demonstrates unusual harmonic resonance with dragon energy. Unexpected compatibility requiring further analysis. The observation momentarily distracted both Rangers, sufficient opening for Madara to execute counterattack. Reality around them compressed suddenly, gravitational forces INC raising exponentially in localized field. Almighty push. Naruto identified instantly, recognizing the Rinnegan technique despite its modified application. Dragon armor absorbed significant portion of the impact. But the force still sent both Rangers crashing through nearby structures. Kimberly recovered first, gymnastic training enabling mid-air adjustment that converted destructive momentum into controlled landing. She immediately launched toward Naruto's position, where impact had created substantial crater in street surface. Status, she demanded, tactical concern overriding everything else. Functional, Naruto responded, rising from debris with dragon armor showing minimal damage despite massive impact. Armor adapted to Rinnegan techniques faster than expected. Your resilience proves fascinating. Madara observed, projection stabilizing as breach parameters recalibrated. The Dragon Coin's selection of shinobi vessel creates adaptation potential exceeding original projections. Why does everyone keep talking about me like I'm some experiment? Naruto questioned rhetorically, dragon staff reforming in his grasp. First that mechanical entity, now you, treating the Dragon Ranger like some cosmic variable. Because that precisely defines your function, Madara replied with unsettling directness. The Dragon Prophecy represents system's automated response to interdimensional interference. A cosmic immune reaction to perceived threat. You're saying the universe itself chose Naruto? Kimberly questioned incredulously, maintaining combat readiness despite conversation. Multiple universes selected appropriate countermeasure, Madara corrected. The Dragon Coin remained dormant until dimensional interference reached critical threshold. Its activation presents system defense mechanism, selecting vessel with optimal compatibility across dimensional frequencies. Naruto processed this revelation with surprising calm. So I'm here because the multiverse has some kind of self-preservation instinct. Crude but essentially accurate assessment, Madara confirmed. Cosmic energy separated across dimensions maintains equilibrium through automated defensive protocols. Your presence here represents one such protocol. If that's true, Kimberly realized, then whoever's orchestrating this convergence is working against fundamental cosmic balance. Balance represents stagnation, Madara dismissed. Evolution requires disruption of established patterns. The convergence represents necessary catalyst for dimensional ascension. Throughout this exchange, Naruto had been subtly channeling specific energy pattern through his armor, combining insights gained from Power Coin connection with his natural shinobi abilities. The dragon staff glowed with increasing intensity as specialized technique formed. Well, if I'm some cosmic countermeasure, Naruto decided, Dragon Ranger helmet retracting to reveal determined expression, might as well embrace the role. Kimberly, on my signal. Target the breach with everything you've got. She nodded without hesitation, trust established through battle partnership overriding earlier skepticism. Her bow, manifested most powerful configuration, energy arrow forming with pink luminescence that pulsed in harmony with Naruto's building technique. Dragon Sage Art, dimensional harmonic disruption. Naruto declared, bringing together techniques from both worlds in unprecedented combination. The dragon staff extended energy blade composed of perfectly balanced frequencies, calibrated specifically to see. Counteract Madara's dimensional projection. Simultaneously, Naruto activated partial six-path Sage mode, golden chakra patterns spreading across dragon armor to create unified energy system. Most impressive improvisation, Madara acknowledged, Rinnegan eyes narrowing as he assessed the technique. Combining Sage Chakra with morphing grid harmonics creates effective interdimensional countermeasure. Now, Naruto signaled, launching forward with speed that distorted air around him. Kimberly released her arrow precisely as Naruto engaged Madara directly, the projectile arcing above combat to strike dimensional breach at optimal angle. The resulting energy cascade created momentary disruption in portal stability, just sufficient window for Naruto's technique to penetrate Madara's dimensional defenses. The dragon staff connected with Madara's projection, energy blade passing through seemingly intangible form but disrupting the dimensional frequencies sustaining his manifestation. For a brief moment, the echo experienced actual physical feedback, expression shifting from clinical detachment to genuine surprise. Direct dimensional interface achieved, he noted with scientific interest despite tactical disadvantage. Your adaptation rate exceeds all projections. Most concerning. Concern about this, Naruto countered, channeling maximum power through established connection. The technique expanded, golden chakra and crimson ranger energy creating disruptive field that forced Madara's projection toward materialization. Dimensional anchoring protocol activated, Madara responded. Mechanical components within his partially reconstructed form glowing with increasing intensity. Premature manifestation introduces acceptable variables. Reality distorted around them as Madara's echo began shifting from projection toward partial materialization, the interdimensional equivalent of being forced through narrowing gateway. His form fluctuated between ethereal energy and physical substance. each transition causing localized reality fractures. "You're forcing him to physically manifest," Kimberly realized, repositioning for optimal tactical advantage. "Making him vulnerable to direct attack." "Exactly," Naruto confirmed, maintaining pressure despite increasing resistance. "His full power requires projection state. Physical form limits his dimensional manipulation capabilities." Madara's expression remained calculating despite tactical disadvantage. "Fascinating approach. Forcing dimensional constraint through harmonic resonance between chakra and morphing grid. The Dragon Coin's influence accelerates your innovative potential." Despite his calm analysis, Madara clearly recognized the strategic threat. His form began compressing toward physical manifestation, mechanical components reconfiguring to accommodate dimensional transition. As materialization progressed, reality distortion surrounding them began receding, buildings and infrastructure returning to normal physical parameters. "Kimberly, prepare finishing strike," Naruto instructed, dragon staff maintaining dimensional anchoring while struggling against Madara's considerable resistance. "Once fully materialized, hit him with everything you've got." She nodded, power bow reconfiguring to maximum output configuration. Energy gathered in arrowhead with increasing intensity, pink luminescence shifting toward white as power approached critical threshold. Just as materialization reached 90% completion, Madara's expression shifted from calculating to triumphant. "Predictable tactical approach. Thank you for the demonstration." Without warning, his partially materialized form began absorbing the dimensional energy surrounding them, including portions of Naruto's technique. The mechanical components integrated into his reconstructed body glowed with increasing intensity as they processed and redirected the energy flow. "He's using the anchoring technique to stabilize his manifestation," Kimberly realized with tactical alarm. "Turning our attack into power source." "Precisely," Madara confirmed. "Your technique provides excellent dimensional stabilization framework. Most efficient approach to premature materialization." Naruto immediately attempted to disengage, but the connection had established two-way energy transfer. Madara's mechanical components maintained energy draw despite Naruto's efforts to terminate the technique. "Your Dragon Coin energy signature has been recorded and analyzed," Madara stated calmly as materialization completed. "Convergence protocols will adapt accordingly." With materialization complete, Madara stood physically present in Angel Grove, no longer mere projection but hybrid entity combining organic and mechanical components. His form retained Uchiha appearance but integrated technological elements clearly not from Shinobi world, components similar to those observed in mechanical entities but more advanced, more elegant in their integration with biological systems. "Now your world has witnessed true transcendence," he announced, voice no longer carrying distant echo but resonating with immediate presence. "Neither fully shinobi nor completely mechanical. Beyond dimensional limitations. Whatever you are, you're not invincible," Kimberly declared, releasing her fully charged arrow directly toward Madara's central mass. The projectile moved with impossible speed, trailing energy signature that disrupted dimensional frequencies in its path. Its approach created momentary atmospheric vacuum that imploded behind advancing arrowhead, adding thunderclap percussion to visual spectacle. Madara observed the attack with scientific curiosity rather than concern. As the arrow reached him, his right eye activated specific Rinnegan ability, the projectile disappearing into dimensional pocket milliseconds before impact. "The Diva path remains useful despite dimensional transition," he observed casually. "Your weapons, while impressive by local standards, cannot overcome fundamental dimensional manipulation." "Maybe not alone," Naruto acknowledged, dragon staff reconfiguring to specialized form based on tactical assessment. "But we're just getting started." Kimberly moved to flanking position without requiring instruction, their combat partnership developing intuitive understanding that belied limited time working together. "Combined attack pattern." Quote, "Exactly," Naruto confirmed. "Your energy signature, my delivery system." Their coordinated assault demonstrated remarkable synergy, Kimberly channeling Taro dactyl energy into specialized configuration while Naruto incorporated it into dragon technique that bypassed conventional dimensional defenses. The resulting combination created attack vector Madara hadn't anticipated, energy frequency that penetrated his automated defensive protocols. The technique connected with tangible impact, sending Madara sliding backward several meters despite anchored stance. Actual damage appeared minimal, but his expression registered genuine surprise at successful penetration of his defenses. Harmonic resonance between pink and dragon energies creates unexpected interference patterns, he observed. Mechanical components recalibrating in response. Your combined potential exceeds individual parameter projections. That's the thing about Rangers, Kimberly responded, moving into complementary position for follow-up attack. We're always stronger together than separately. A limitation rather than advantage, Madara countered. Dependence on external P-port creates exploitable vulnerabilities. Without warning, dimensional ripples expanded outward from his position, targeting not Naruto or Kimberly directly but communication systems linking them to other Rangers. The technique specifically disrupted frequencies used by Ranger communicators, isolating them from command center coordination. Temporary communication blackout established, Madara announced with clinical detachment. Sufficient window for primary objective completion. Which is what exactly? Naruto demanded, maintaining combat readiness while assessing strategic implications of communication loss. Madara's response came not through words but action. His mechanical components reconfigured, generating localized dimensional field around his position. This field expanded rapidly, creating mirror-like surface that reflected surrounding environment with subtle distortions. Dimensional coordinates recorded, he stated, seemingly addressing someone beyond immediate vicinity. Primary target identified and evaluated. Convergence adjustment recommended based on Dragon Ranger manifestation parameters. The reflective field pulsed once before contracting around Madara's form, compressing into singular point that disappeared with reality-bending implosion. Where he had stood remained only scorched pavement and lingering energy signature rapidly dissipating into ambient atmosphere. He teleported, Kimberly questioned, Bao remaining ready despite apparent threat departure. Not exactly, Naruto corrected, dragon armor detecting residual energy patterns. More like interdimensional transition. He wasn't fully here to begin with, just testing manifestation parameters. Testing us, you mean, Kimberly amended, helmet retracting to reveal concerned expression. Or more specifically, testing you and the dragon coin. Naruto nodded, his own helmet dissolving as transformation receded. He wanted to evaluate how I'm adapting to Ranger powers. How quickly I am integrating chakra with morphing grid energy. And our communication blackout conveniently prevents immediate reporting to Zordon, Kimberly added, attempting to activate communicator with predictable failure. We're temporarily on our own. Naruto's expression shifted to tactical assessment as he surveyed surrounding damage. He could have done much worse. This was controlled demonstration rather than actual attack. A warning, Kimberly suggested grimly, showing what he's capable of without fully committing. Our data gathering, Naruto countered. Everything he did seemed designed to measure responses. Record capabilities, assess adaptation rates. Like scientists studying lab specimens, Kimberly observed with evident distaste. That mechanical entity did the same thing, more interested in analysis than combat. Naruto nodded agreement, pieces connecting in his tactical assessment. They're working together, the mechanical entities, Madara's echo, whoever's coordinating from this dimension. Systematic evaluation of defensive capabilities before main offensive. Standard military doctrine, Kimberly acknowledged, recognizing pattern from Ranger tactical training. Probe defenses, identify weaknesses. Adjust strategy accordingly. Their discussion paused as Ranger communicators suddenly reactivated, Jason's voice breaking through static with urgent tone. Kimberly, Naruto, do you read? Command center perimeter breach contained, but we've got multiple dimensional disturbances forming across Angel Grove. We read you, Kimberly responded immediately. Matter, an entity engaged and temporarily withdrawn. Confirmed connection to mechanical incursions and dimensional breaches. Get back to command center immediately, Jason ordered. Situations escalating citywide. We need everyone for strategic assessment. Teleporting now, Kimberly confirmed, activating recall sequence. As teleportation energy enveloped them, Naruto's expression remained thoughtful. Strategic mind processing implications of their encounter. Kimberly, he noted just before dematerialization, Madara mentioned something about us specifically, about pink and dragon energy having unusual harmonic resonance. Probably trying to distract us, she dismissed, though something in her tone suggested the observation had registered more significantly than her response indicated. Maybe, Naruto acknowledged as their forms dissolved into respective energy streams. But his analysis seemed genuinely surprised by our combined effectiveness. Their conversation paused as teleporta. Chion transported them across Angel Grove, matter converting to energy before reforming within Command Center's protected environment. Yet even as they rematerialized among gathered rangers and allies, the observation lingered in both their thoughts. Unexpected connection forming between powers separated by dimensional boundaries yet fundamentally compatible at cosmic level. Whatever convergence approached, whatever forces manipulated dimensional boundaries for unfathomable purpose, the partnership developing between Pink Ranger and Dragon Ranger represented variable unaccounted for in carefully calculated cosmic equation. Not mere tactical alliance but deeper resonance between energies that cosmic forces themselves recognized as significant. The shadow between worlds had revealed glimpses of impending crisis, but also illuminated unexpected light, connection forming between defenders that transcended dimensional separation. As Rangers gathered to assess escalating situation, that ion represented hope against gathering darkness that threatened not one world, but all reality itself. Chapter 3 End. The End. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.